spring training baseball on SNY this afternoon, presented by Citi, as the New York Mets play host to the Miami Marlins. Boy, does that sound strange to say. Here at Digital Domain Park in Port St. Lucie, there's the outside, and it's baseball in Florida. How bad can that be, right? Fans coming in to see the Marlins. No Jose Reyes today, but some new uniforms, that new logo. Hanley Ramirez is here at third base. That'll certainly be very interesting to watch. And Justin Turner, he's the Mets' third baseman today. Boy, did he have a nice day yesterday. Fans, come on in, see some baseball here in Port St. Lucie. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast alongside my partners Ron Darley and Keith Hernandez. I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Thanks for tuning in today. And, you know, we always have a couple things to watch in these spring training games, and we start with a pitcher today. That's Mike Pelfrey, making his debut for the spring. And a lot on his plate here for things that he has to prove, Ron. What are some of the positives that you think that he really needs to show you?
Well, think about it this way. A couple of days ago, we watched Santana pitch. We know he is the first and foremost, most important pitcher they need. But Pelfrey's a guy they need also. 2 seasons ago, won 13 games, only 7 wins last year. When you're watching him today, you're going to see a sinker ball that he says he has mastered again, a pitch that he calls his changeup that he threw in college. He's also going to mix in a little curveball. But the improvement of Mike Pelfrey is going to, of course, mean the improvement for the New York Mets.
And think about it. Last year, he was the opening day starter against these Marlins for the Mets. Now he's the number 4 starter. Maybe the reduced pressure can help him there. Meanwhile, you look at Justin Turner. We saw a picture of him in the open, Keith. And you know, this is a guy that was in the second base race last year, came up and had really a fine year. Now he's the jack of all trades. He had a great day yesterday, though.
Well, you know, it's been kind of told that he's going to be the backup guy and a little bit of first base, as you said. But, you know, spring training is always full of competition, and he had a big day yesterday in that Met win against the Marlins. He went 3 for 3 with a home run and drove in 3 runs. So he's off to a good start in spring training, trying to earn a job. Also today, the leadoff spot for you Met fans at home, Kurt Neuenhuis is leading off in the outfield today. I like him. He's someone to watch. I think he's got a good future ahead of him.
He's kind of been the forgotten guy. A lot of talk about Matt Dendecker, but he is right there trying to get to the big leagues in center field. But right now, focus on Big Pelfrey, spring debut from Port St. Lucie. Mets and Marlins coming up next. anything better than spring training baseball? I don't think there is. The sunshine, the players getting back into it. You see the smiles, having a little fun as they prepare for the regular season. Mets and Marlins this afternoon, and today's game brought to you by Citi and by Budweiser. By Toyota, hurry in. It's Toyota's #1 for everyone sales event, Toyota. And by WB Mason for amazingly low prices on office supplies. Who but WB Mason? Take a look at the pocket schedule upcoming for the Mets. They play the Marlins about 78 times this spring. Marlins are here today. They played them yesterday. They got them again on Sunday on Pix 11 in New York. Get a chance to see that on the road or the Metsies the next couple of days. Now you can follow the Mets with MLB.com @Bat12 for your iPhone, iPad, or Android. Get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Just text @Bat to 31826 or visit Mets.com for all the details. Ozzie Guillen, he's the new guy in town for the Marlins. His team against Mike Pelfrey and the Mets next. Mike Pelfrey on the mound, making his spring debut for the Mets this afternoon here in Port St. Lucie, facing the Marlins in this lineup today. Oh, you look at Hanley Ramirez. Think he's got something to show you. He had his worst season, and it was by far last year. So not only is he trying to come back from that, but he's moving to third base to accommodate Jose Reyes. Get the feeling you're going to be watching and talking about that all year long.
Well, like a lot of these Mets, Mike Pelfrey has a lot to prove. Coming off a season where he was 7-13, as you can see right there. Strikeouts down. Home runs were up. That's something that he's trying to work on. Keep that ball in the ballpark with the shortened Citi Field.
And Alexis, the Metropolitan defense, and we mentioned at the top here, Kurt Neuenhuis. I just had a chance to watch him play in a couple spring training games here at center field. He is talented and can run, and it's just a matter of him staying healthy. He's a big, strong kid, good-looking guy, and he's got a future in front of him.
Ozzie Guillen, first year at the helm with the Marlins after his 8-year run with the White Sox. Took him to a World Series and won it in 05, and he just seems like the perfect fit. This Marlins team moving into a new ballpark in a very diverse community, and he's got a couple guys that he's got really good relationships already on this team, namely his starting pitcher today, in Carlos Zambrano.
I don't know who does your job over there. He's going to have a tough time because most of his pregame comments are expletive deleted.
That would be the editor, Ronnie, not me. As Pelfrey begins the game with a fastball upstairs to Scott Cousins, the left fielder for the Marlins today. I'm going to try and resist the urge to call them Florida probably about 70 times. As Cousins lifts one deep to left, and Bay on the run, not going to get there. Way to start the game for Scott Cousins, who goes the other way with a leadoff double here this afternoon.
You know, Scott Cousins will always forever be linked with that injury to Buster Posey. He's the one that ran Posey over, but don't forget, he's got some talent, and that's why he's leading off for these Miami Marlins today. Nice job of going the other way.
Well, you know, left-hand hitter, and you got a right-hand sinker ball out there, and you got Mike, who said he's working on his sinker, new grip on his fastball. He likes his sink, but the sink's going to be away, and go with it, and Cousins did a nice job there.
Get a look at Donnie Murphy at shortstop. Jose Reyes did not make the trip. Also didn't play against the Mets yesterday. So Murphy gets a call today. Takes inside ball one. I mean, I would think the Marlins would try to keep Reyes away from the Mets all spring if they could. But we'll see. As you see Hanley Ramirez waiting on deck. Marlins also opened their new stadium the last couple nights with 2 exhibition games. So they had a lot of their stars down there for that against college teams.
You know, I think it's the same going to be with for Carlos Beltran, too, for St. Louis. He's not going to make a lot of trips over here to Port St. Lucie either.
I think you save the media stuff for the regular season, which is what he'll do. Meanwhile, after a leadoff double, Pelfrey's fallen behind Donnie Murphy 2-0. Murphy goes through the left side. Cousins will have to stop at third, but 2 hits to start the game for the Marlins against Mike Pelfrey.
Well, fastball that just didn't move at all, right down the middle, and 2-0 count. You got to come in with a fastball. The hitter's count, you can see not much movement up, mid-thigh, a little lazy sink, and he got hurt there.
If you're not throwing your sinker today, you're going to be in trouble on both sides. This could be one of those high-scoring games. The wind is blowing straight out to left field.
Here is, to me, one of the most fascinating stories in the league this year is Hanley Ramirez, a guy that's a former batting champ that just had a bad year last year. I mean, 243, 10 home runs. Every one of his numbers was way down. And now, you know, the Marlins basically signed Reyes and then said, hey, by the way, we need you to move to third. And everyone is watching how Ramirez handles it as he takes strike one. And, you know, so far to his credit, he's done everything he can to make it known that, at least publicly, that he's going to be okay with it. On his Twitter feed, he put a picture of he and Reyes out to dinner one night. But you know, that's now. That's in spring. What's going to happen come the regular season, no one knows.
What's going to happen the first time he has 2 errors in a game and goes 0 for 5? That's when I want to read the comments after the game.
Well, you know, Reyes and Ramirez are friendly. They're friends.
Oh, boy. And he blasts one through the right side, and he's going to bring home the Marlins' first run. 3 straight hits off of Mike Pelfrey, and Hanley Ramirez with the RBI single. 1-0 Miami.
Well, 3 rockets so far off Mike. Off to a little shaky start. And that ball has too much plate and up, as you can see. And Ramirez last year, he had shoulder problems too, Kev, and missed a lot of the season. But he really got long with his swing. And there's Dan Warthen right there looking at his starting pitcher. But talked to Hanley during BP. I asked him, I said, are you working on shortening up that stroke? And he said, absolutely. He said it got away from him last year.
It's interesting you say that as a veteran. Austin Kearns takes for strike one, because you look at Ramirez's home run numbers, and they've gone down every year. He had 33 in 08, and then it's been 24, 21, and 10. How exactly, Keith, do you work on shortening your swing? What do you do?
You work on it in batting practice, and you get back to basics. I think Hanley, after the batting title, got a little bit lazy, and who knows how much the shoulder affected him. But he got very, very long, and you know, he's had a history of being a headache. You know, and every manager he's played for, he's been disciplined, and I like him. He's a good kid, and you know, he did not handle well, Kev, moving to third base in the winter. He did not. He was very unhappy. He didn't change his tone until beginning of spring training, right before spring. So, you know, to me, if you're
you know, and I know it's a big thing to be a shortstop, but if you get a guy like the caliber of Jose Reyes to add to your ball club, you got to feel good about that from a team standpoint.
No doubt. You know, 1-2 here to the veteran Austin Kearns as Marlins have 3 straight hits off Mike Pelfrey to start it. And, you know, hey, look, this is a guy that was the headliner for this team. And, you know, now a lot of their stars are back home today, and he's here in Port St. Lucie. So, you know, he was in a great mood today. I talked to him a little bit down there, too. It's just going to be one of those things you're going to watch all year.
Let's not forget the starting pitcher for this team tonight, too.
Yeah, that's another story as Ronnie Cedeno goes back, makes the basket catch. And Mike Pelfrey has his first out as Kearns is retired.
So basically, I think Ozzie Guillen was brought over here from the White Sox, and they paid a lot of money. Got a 3-year deal, and they enriched him, and they are looking for him to be the guy that's going to be able to negotiate through all of this season with these different personalities.
Dag Hammarskjöld or Philip Habib. He's going to be the great mediator, right?
Well, he also has a strong enough personality, kind of like a Rex Ryan, where he takes the pressure off, or at least they hope he takes the pressure off. That's part of it. Aaron Rowan now the batter. The Marlins last couple of months have brought in a couple of these guys like Kearns and Rowan, these veteran players who, you know, could really help. They're hoping one of them makes the team, depending on if the center field situation doesn't pan out, or just to have one of these guys on the bench. So.
Remember, they've got a young, talented outfield, so having a veteran outfielder on the bench to help them through the daily grind is always a good thing.
Center field's interesting for this team. There's the 1-0 to Rowan. You got Chris Coughlin out there fighting for it. And after that great rookie year, Chris has struggled with injuries and the like. And then you have Scott Cousins, who led off with a double and scored. And you also have Emilio Bonifacio, who had a tremendous year last year. But now with Reyes, Bonifacio is kind of, he's an outfielder now.
Well, it's an interesting group. You know, you can throw Logan Morrison, the left fielder. He's going to be their starting left fielder for the Marlins this year. They sent him down because he was tweeting and saying some disparaging things. And so they sent him down as kind of a warning. And it's a guy who hit 23 home runs last year, drove in 72 runs. So see, Ozzie's going to have to whip this group into shape, and he's not one to take any guff. He will let you know where he stands.
2-1 to Rowan is outside and low, and now Pelfrey's falling behind. 3-1 Aaron Rowan.
Now this is where in this season, if Mike is professing what he's talking about, 1 out, first and second, throw that good sinker ball. It doesn't have to be on the corners. Get it down, make the hitter put the ball on the ground. Give your infielders a chance to turn too.
Good swing by Rowan, but he fouls it back. Look at the NL East from last year, and the Phillies winning it yet again. Braves, of course, had that big collapse down the stretch. And that's the rest of the division. You know, the Marlins really fell off. But this is, I mean, I think it's the best division in baseball this year, and you can certainly argue that point. But, I mean, there's a lot of talent in this division. Now, that's on paper. How does it all gel together? Other than the Phillies, don't know.
Well, it's the best division, unarguably, in the National League.
Rowan stays alive.
You know, everybody improved in the division. You know, Atlanta, I felt strong enough, didn't make any moves. They got rid of their shortstop, Alex Gonzalez, and they're going to give the youngster, I can't think of his name right. Pasternicki. They're giving him a shot for the job at shortstop.
They're also banking on a couple of the young arms too.
Yes, I mean, they got rid of Derek Lowe and the shortstop. So
Pelfrey's 3-2 to Rowan. Misses inside with the fastball, and now the bases are loaded. That's going to prompt a meeting at the mound with Dan Wortham. Not the start that Mike Pelfrey or the Mets wanted here. Let's get up 3 hits and a walk. Look at some of the stars here in the division. You know, other than Lidge and Reyes stayed in the division, but you know, Papelbon to the Phillies. Gonzalez just totally underrated to the Nationals, basically because no one's seen the guy pitch because he was in Oakland. And then Burley who has been one of the most consistent performers in baseball the last decade.
He's going to be great for that staff because he works incredibly quick. He's one of those guys that pitches games 2 hours and 5 minutes. He's going to make that entire staff really work quickly. That was a big signing.
He's not a hard thrower, Burley. He averaged last year only a little over 85 miles per hour. That's second slowest fastball in baseball. But a left-hander with off-speed stuff, they can do it.
Keeps the team in the game. He'll pitch you the 2-hour games. You go out in the field and you're back in the dugout before you know what happened. Terry Tiffy is the batter with the bases loaded against Mike Pelfrey. Already a run in for the Marlins on Hanley Ramirez's opposite field single. And there's just one down on the Austin Kearns pop-up. Tiffy, the former 26th-round draft pick of the Twins back in '99.
You know, Pelf has been talking about making his slider a little smaller, Kevin. I know you've been here the entire time, and making it almost into a cutter kind of slider, which means it's going to be faster, it's going to have less break, but also a little ability to keep it in on the left-handed hitters. That's exactly what that pitch was right there to get to 0-2 on the hitter.
So with that, are you just trying to avoid the flat slider that hangs over the plate, essentially?
You're trying to get contact. That's what you're trying to get. You know, instead of that ball one, you're throwing the ball in his hands. You got contact. You got the 0-2. Now put him away.
0-2, and Tiffy just slaps at it, and he finds a seam. That's an RBI base hit for Terry Tiffy. Nice piece of hitting, and the Marlins are up 2-0 on Mike Pelfrey and the Mets.
Well, this is let go with one hand. Good sinker in a good spot, and sometimes you got to tip your hat. This ball has good bite down. That's out of the strike zone. That's as good as it gets, but that's just good hitting right there.
Well, now it'll be the catcher today, Luke Montz. Will get a chance. He has numbers in Double-A last year. John Buck is a starting catcher for this team come the regular season. Marlins gave him a big contract last year. Pelfrey hits the outside corner for strike one to Montz. You know, I think, Ron, to your point about the sinker and the double plays is huge, because you look at Pelfrey's numbers, and over the last 4 years, honestly, with the exception of the home runs, they're very, very similar. As we get some warm-up action in the Mets pen already. Just guarding against it, Pelfrey has a ridiculously long inning with a pitch count.
Yeah, you want to make sure you give that pitcher enough time to warm up just in case you need him.
Mondo Rodriguez, by the way, warming. He was slated to pitch today, but later, so he's already warming up.
And he's a big kid. Boy, I tell you, I stood next to him. I felt like Wee Willie there. Geez, he's a monster.
Meanwhile, 0-2 to Montz. This is shallow. Baxter comes in, and Ramirez bluffs. He's not going anywhere. Nice job to get down by Lucas May to block that baseball and stop Ramirez at third. So Pelfrey gets a second out, no one advancing.
Well, one out away from getting out of this inning with only 2 runs.
As the Mets learned last year with the sending of Beltran in that early spring training game, you do not do not send your stars home with a chance for a close play at the plate in spring training. No need to.
I think that was the only time we ever mentioned Chip Hale at third base the entire time he was here. He did such a good job. But that was an interesting day. So now 2 down, bases remain loaded for Donovan Solano, the second baseman today. You know, just finishing the thought though, Ryan, all of Pelfrey's numbers are very similar. Home runs, you know, whip, you go down, hits, walks, very similar. But he just didn't get the double play. He always has had guys on, whether the walk or the hit, but he was been able to get out of it with that double play. He just didn't get it last year.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially in that year when he went 13-10, he would bend but not break. His problem is when guys got on first, they immediately went to second because he didn't have the ability to hold them on. Took that double play away. That's something he's got to get better at. And he's said that he is working on that here in spring training.
He said that and the home runs are the 2 things he needs to change. And there's all correlation. If he gets the sinker working, the home runs will probably go down. Here are the numbers on Mike the last 4 years. It's been, you know, good cop, bad cop. One tough year and good year. Tough year, good year. That's been his pattern. So, and Mets are hoping that on cue he goes back to good year this year.
Yeah, I was mentioning the 13 wins because that in 08 was when I thought he was going to make the real big turn to be a big winner in this league, and it's been stops and starts for Mike.
The year he won the 15 ball games a couple years ago, he started throwing that split finger and kind of went through the league in the beginning, got off hot because it was a new pitch, and the offense, I think, caught on to that pitch. Now Mike has canned the split finger and is now gone throwing a changeup.
He also had 10 wins before the All-Star break.
That's right. The one thing you see here in this first inning, it's very noticeable. Everything is hard. The slider is hard. The fastball is hard. It's one speed for these hitters.
This one back to Pelfrey, and that'll do it. So it could have been worse. Mike Pelfrey had a rough start, but recovers nicely. Marlins get on the board with 2. Mets turn to bat next.
Tonight we head back to spring training as the Mets face the Marlins for the second time, and it's a clash of the Big East Titans with Boeheim and Calhoun at the Garden. We have highlights and post-game reaction right here, starting at 10:30.
Check out the Mets starting lineup, brought to you by Geico today, as we see Justin Turner. Nice afternoon yesterday, 3 for 3, a home run. He gets a start at third base. David Wright is still ailing. He's got that rib cage / oblique thing, and he's been working out lightly and hoping to take ground balls on the weekend, but he's got a way to go. Meanwhile, this is certainly an interesting acquisition for the Marlins, Ron. Carlos Zambrano, boy, it's going to be fun to watch, see if he can get back to his old form as he faces Kirk Neuenhuis to start things off.
I will say that if he starts to act up, Ozzie will not take any of his garbage, so that's a good thing. And Zambrano, when he's at his best, is one of the best pitchers in this league. 90 miles an hour already.
He looks in shape this year. His problem is he got that contract and he just became no pun intended, a kind of a fat cat.
Well, he's in the last year of that contract now, and the Marlins are only paying $2.5 million of it. They traded Chris Volstad, who was disappointing for them, and they get a guy who I think really respects Ozzie. You know, when he had all the stuff going on with the Cubs and his season got cut short, was suspended, was ejected. He went out to dinner with Guillen, and that's who he kind of confided in. So I think it's a good match.
And also you have a guy who's a real threat in the National League, one of the best hitters as a pitcher to ever play this game.
Neuenhuis takes upstairs, so count goes full on Neuenhuis, who was not in the original starting lineup today. It was Andres Torres set to get the call, and then he had a tight glute. So he seemed to think that it was nothing big, but you know, at this point of spring, everything cautious as Neuenhuis chases a high heater, 94 on the gun. That's a good start for Zambrano. There's one down.
Well, he's got that pitch, Keith, that he can't lay off on.
And we'll look at the City Marlin defense, and Ramirez, of course, at third base. The veteran Aaron Rowan in right field, coming over from the Giants. Had a disappointing 2-3 years over there in San Francisco.
Here's Turner, takes strike one. Zambrano's throwing pretty hard for his spring debut.
He's going to have a good year. Ronnie said it in between commercial break. He's in shape, and he's got something to prove.
Last year of his contract.
You know what? This is a guy that you pay year. If you could, you pay him year by year. You pay him on performance.
1-2 now to Turner. I mean, you're talking about Zambrano, who's still only 30 years old, and he's got a career ERA of 3.6. Turner chases, and the Mets are no contest for Zambrano. The first two batters, 2 strikeouts. Jason Bay. Check this out on Bay, guys, and look what his stance looks like from last year to now.
Look how closed he is in this one on the left, and look now how he's opened up. And the front foot is pointed towards the third base dugout. Now he's even more open, and his back foot is pointing more towards home plate. He's become more open, but his upper body remains the same. So I think what they want to do is get his full face, both his eyes looking at the pitcher. The more closed you are, they always say with today, your dominant eye is your eye towards the pitcher. Like my dominant eye was my right eye. So I had a closed stance. It didn't mean that wasn't why I had a closed stance. But if my left eye was dominant, my back eye, they would want today. They would want me to open up so I can face the pitcher. Sure. I don't know what that means. I'm not an eye doctor, but it's interesting. I think that's probably what the philosophy behind this is.
Meanwhile, he's been patient, 3-0, and he takes a 4-pitch walk against Zambrano. So after 2 strikeouts, 4 out of the zone, and Bay the first base runner for the Mets. You know, I think the one thing looking at those pictures, though, it backs up his hypothesis, because he said upon arriving at spring training that, you know, I felt like last September I finally got back to feeling like myself. He had a good September, and maybe that's why. Maybe he finally got back to getting up there and standing how he always stood the rest of his career.
Makes me answer the question. He came off of 36 and 119. Why the change at all?
I know that's a great question, right? Is it pressure of a new place? Got off to a bad start? Who knows? Ike Davis now takes a strike.
I never liked fiddling with your stance. I mean, I can stay with my stance pretty much my whole career. The only adjustments I made were I got a little closer to the plate, maybe moved a little closer to the pitcher, maybe a little further back. But, you know, that's how you hit your whole life. You can't just change someone.
You think, I mean, we've talked a lot about with Wright and Bay on our broadcast. You think guys overall, Keith, just fiddle too much these days?
No, I don't see a lot of guys with different stances. A guy that comes to mind that changed his stance almost every day was Bernie Carbo, was notorious for that.
Cal Ripken, Carl Yastrzemski also.
Yep, so it's a rarity. I think guys pretty much stay with what they got. I always worry about, you know, not just so much hitting coaches. It can be a pitching coach. You know, you're kind of, when you're in the minor leagues, you're at the mercy. What are you going to say if all of a sudden you got a hitting coach that says that you can't hit this way, you got to hit this way if you get to the big leagues? You can't say no.
You have to listen, right?
You tell them no, I guarantee you, you're toast.
Right. 1-2 to Ike Davis with 2 down in the first.
I'll give you a quick story about that, Kevin. Sorry to interrupt you. Pitched a game in San Francisco, beat them 3-2. In the papers the next day, Davey just was all over me for not throwing breaking balls. Next start, I shut out Pirates. I was bound and determined I was not going to throw a breaking ball. After the game, he said, see, he's listening to me, finally. So that's the kind of stuff that can happen.
Were you stubborn?
I was a little stubborn still. Much to my family's chagrin.
Ike Davis worked the count full now. Bay will be off and running with 2 down. And that one's foul to the right side. Davis DHing today. Mets are being, use that word again, cautious with him with the whole Valley fever thing. And even though Ike says he feels fine, Terry Collins said he's going to rest him and, you know, do things like this, DH, and take him out of games. Doesn't want to take any chances.
Well, they're a little bit leery what happened with Connor Jackson a couple years ago and the Diamondbacks, and he missed the whole season with Valley fever.
3-2, and Zambrano misses inside. So after blowing away the first 2 hitters of Loen, Ice, and Turner, Bay and Davis being patient, back-to-back walks.
You know, if I had to say any criticism of Zambrano, and there's plenty for all the things that are well documented, but just on the field, when I watch him pitch, he tends to get angry when things don't work his way. And the other thing I think that is so obvious, he has concentration issues. He has a hard time getting through the whole inning. He has lapses of judgment here and there, and I think that's what stopped him from being one of the best in his generation of pitchers.
So now the Mets with 2 down and 2 on, and Lucas May is the batter. He's an interesting guy. A guy who was in the Dodgers organization that Terry Collins knew well, so he brings him over to Mets spring training. He used to be a shortstop. In fact, only converted to a catcher back in 2007. So he says he's still learning. And a nice block there by Montz on the slider.
Well, there's a little open competition here in the Met camp. It's been kind of in the shadows for that backup catching role. I mean, there's going to be it's going to be a right-handed catcher, and I think that he's going to get a lot of playing time whoever goes north.
Takes strike 2. Well, he's the offensive catcher. I mean, they've got Rob Johnson, who's total defense. You've got Nickius. We know about his great defense, trying to work on the offense. May is the offensive guy. You know, so if they need some offense, whether it's now or in the middle of May or June, this would be the guy. Here, though, in the 1-2 hole. He's got 102 home runs in 784 minor league games, so he does have some pop in that bat. 27 years old.
All you got to do is get it up in the air to left field today.
Yeah, the other day, Ryan, we had the game and the wind was blowing right in from right field to home plate. Now it's blowing from right to left. You saw Scott Cousins' ball took a ride once he got that in the air.
Some great players have had the last name May, Keith. Haven't we? Lee May and Carlos May and Bob May.
Lee May was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a shot by May this time, and that is going to score a run or 2. Bay comes on to score. Here comes Ike Davis. He's going to come in and score. That's a 2-run laser by Lucas May, and it ties the game up at 2.
Well, fighting for a job. That's a big one. 2-2 count. 2 strikes on him. Got a fastball right on the outer half. Not a good pitch. And he covered it. There it is right there. Look at the eye right on the ball. There you go. Results.
Terry Collins raving about Lucas May in the beginning of camp. That helps the cause, that's for sure. Mike Baxter now. Chance to give the Mets a lead in a very eventful first inning for both clubs offensively.
Mike on opening day playing left field made a nice throw on a ball down the left field line to throw out a runner trying to stretch it for 2.
Baxter fouls that one off. Chad Gaudin warming up for the Marlins. All right, first inning warm-up action, right?
Both teams and both bullpens. Hurt your feelings if you're a starter, Kevin. I mean, you're only supposed to go 2 anyway.
I mean, you know, if you're Carlos Zambrano and you look down and see that, you better hide the water cooler. You never know. Baxter lays off that one, and he stays alive. It's 1-2. Mike Baxter, he and Adam Loen, 2 lefty bats, really vying for, at least right now, that final roster spot, the lefty outfield. Lowen's on deck. Lowen's got the power threat. Baxter a little speedier. He works it to 2-2. Amazing how the pace has changed, right? I mean, Zambrano blows away the first 2 hitters. Baxter trying to sneak it through, and he does. May comes around. He's going to score. RBI single Mike Baxter, and the Mets jump in front 3-2.
Well, nice hitting. Changeup with good sink and a pretty good spot. That's good hitting. Stayed right in, kept his shoulder in.
Got a little of that topspin, huh? That allows it to get past the infielder.
Got to wonder if Jose Reyes is out there. That ball 6-3 in your scorecard.
Very good possibility. But you know what? Today it's an RBI single.
That's right.
Andy St. Clair out to talk to Big Z. All started with Jason Bay. 4-pitch walk to him after 2 straight strikeouts, and then Davis worked the count to a walk. 2-run double from Lucas May, and then Mike Baxter with an RBI single. Now here's Adam Loen, the converted pitcher, former first-round draft pick of the Baltimore Orioles. See what he did last year in AAA. He is a big dude. He's got some power. He's one of those batting practice power guys. Now he's going to show it in the games. Takes slider inside, ball 1. 6'6", 175 from Surrey, Canada, just outside Vancouver.
It's one of those days where the left-handed hitters can get something up in the jet stream also. So left field is their friend.
Hefty cut and a miss.
Well, this looks like, the Mets bench doesn't have a lot of pop outside of Scott Hairston. And, of course, we know Scott has a oblique problem. Got a couple big guys here. They got Valentina Pascucci back. This big young man right here. Maybe they got a shot outside. Looking for someone to come off the bench when you need a long ball.
Especially at home at Citi Field now. One of the things you love in your own ballpark is that if your team's behind in the 9th, you can have a bloop and a blast and get him back in the game or win the game. And you're certainly going to have that at Citi Field this summer.
2-1 outside, 3-1, and Brano's having some issues throwing strikes. And Keith, you talk about Hairston. I mean, he's got some issues, right? I mean, he had three cortisone shots the other day in that oblique area, the same one that he hurt last year. He told me he did not have any shots last year when he missed the final month. He just let it heal. So he had 3 to try and calm down that inflammation, but there's obviously concern about that. I mean, 3 cortisone shots in one area, that's big time.
I told Scott in the clubhouse today, I said, those sit-ups. I never did a sit-up in my life. I go, I never had an oblique.
I think you should have a new infomercial. I got the new workout. No sit-ups.
I'm serious. Terry Collins was saying to get the guys to do more obliques. I say they do too many obliques. That's why is there all these oblique injuries now?
3-2 to Loen.
I mean, it's not like football where you're going to have a 300-pound lineman is attacking and may fall on your stomach. It's not going to happen.
Or hit you in the gut.
There's a lot of swivel and a lot of hip action and twisting in a baseball swing.
When you say you didn't have any obliques, were you not born with them, or you just
well, I had them. Okay. Trust me.
Just clarify, Keith, for the Mets.
You didn't see my six-pack when I was 23 years old?
Strike 3 called to Loen. I missed it. But the Mets take the lead. Carlos
I saw you have a six-pack.
Lucas May with a big shot, a 2-run double. And it's the Mets by 1 over the Marlins after 1. top two here at Digital Domain Park. Mets in front of the Marlins 3-2. Carlos Zambrano threw 39 pitches in the first inning. Then after blowing away the first two hitters. And now it's Pelfrey who struggled in the first inning but recovered. Could have been a big time inning. In. He faces the number 9 hitter now, Kevin Madison, center fielder today. Madison, 28th round pick back in 08 out of UNC Asheville for the Marlins.
Hit 260 last year for AA Jacksonville. 130 games, 8 home runs.
Meanwhile, Tojo Zambrano at 39 pitches. That was the 30th pitch for Mike Pelfrey. So both guys using a lot of energy today. A fastball a little higher in the zone for a strike.
You know, they stopped calling that high strike, Ron, and that was a borderline high strike in today's game. But to me, the hitters take it. That's the easiest pitch to hit. Yeah. That high fastball out over the plate is just like steak and eggs on a platter. Room service. Thank you.
Yeah. Since they don't call it anymore, they're looking for the ball like belt high.
3-1. And Pelfrey misses outside with the fastball and a leadoff walk to Kevin Madison. Chris Carl, Adam Shine will bring you live reports on the Mets and Yanks straight from camp, plus a complete breakdown of today's Big East Tournament quarterfinals on Loudmouth, part of the New York Sports Local, tonight at 6 right here on SNY. Being the Big East Tournament, Gary Cohen, Seton Hall Pirates have been retired. So, Gary, we're sorry.
Does that mean Gary has to come back and do more games?
Well, not right now.
Okay.
I don't know what he's doing at this moment. He's probably watching, as a matter of fact. Hi, Gary. So leadoff walk to the Marlins. Back to the top of the order now to Scott Cousins, who had that leadoff double and scored his first time up.
You know, I'm sure the Seton Hall people aren't feeling great today, but they had a great year, and they really played. Had a little middle part of their season where they struggled, but that senior guard for them, I think it's Jordan Theodore is his name.
Yes.
Just really had an outstanding season. He's going to give himself a chance to play in the next league, I'm sure.
Meanwhile, some people still think they can make the tournament. Yeah. And there was an article in the Times today about Harvard hoops. It would take a lot to happen, but can you imagine if Harvard and Tommy Amaker faced off against Seton Hall in the tournament?
That's right.
It'd take a miracle, but we can never know. Inside to Cousins now, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, Tommy Amaker has done a great job at Harvard with that. With his basketball team. Of course, he was the coach. I don't know if he coached him his first year, but I know he coached him the last few seasons of Jeremy Lin.
Missing Pelfrey. It's 2-1. You know, we talked in the first inning about holding runners. Here's some evidence about Pelfrey and how badly the stolen base gashed him. Last year, he allowed runners to steal 29 of 31 attempts. 29 steals against him. How did the other pitchers in the Mets staff do? That's a stark difference. R.A. Dickey allowed 7 steals. Dylan G allowed 8 steals. And there goes the runner there, and it hits right through the right side, base hit. Madison's going to go to third. Runners at the corners for the Marlins with nobody out.
I think that is something that you're going to see from Ozzie Guillen. He's an aggressive manager, putting on the hit and run there.
And Keith, you make a good point, because when he was in Chicago, guys like Konerko and others really thwarted a lot of the baseball that he likes to play, and that is the hit and run. And he was a speed guy himself.
Exactly. I mean, the projected lineup for these Marlins is going to obviously be Reyes leading off, Bonifacio second, Ramirez hitting third, Stanton cleanup. So that's a pretty, formidable 1 to 4. Then you're going to come down with Logan Morrison, the left fielder, protecting Stanton from the left side. Gabby Sanchez is not here, the first baseman, and John Buck. So they got speed at the top. With those two guys, Reyes, they both stole over 40 bases last year.
1-0 to Murphy. Low. Oh, strike. Wanted to, Mike Stanton is the artist formerly known as Mike Stanton. Now he's Giancarlo Stanton.
Haven't they got a bullpen pitcher out there, too, with a different name now, too?
Oh, you mean Nunez. Leo Nunez is now Juan Carlos Oviedo, excuse me. And he is currently stuck in the Dominican Republic with some legal issues. He technically has a 1-year deal. But he's not here yet for the Marlins.
Sounds like 2 actors in a Sergio Leone Western. Giancarlo Stanton, Oviedo.
Stanton was down at the exhibition last night taking BP and apparently hitting rockets out of the stadium by a long shot. And this one could be two. Flip to Cedeno on the first double play. Run comes in to tie the game. But Pelfrey gets that ground ball. 6-4-3 double play. 2 away.
Well, very nice by Mike. This ball is really a kind of a fastball that ran in on Murphy and jammed him, but that's what he's going to have to look for, to stop the beginning. First and third, no outs, get that ground ball, and he got to 2 outs.
Run did come home, tied at 3. 2 down, bases empty for Hanley Ramirez, who ripped in opposite field single for an RBI, his first at bat today. Anyway, just finishing Stanton after the game, he said, "I'm sick of talking about the distance of my home runs. They go out. That's all that that's all that matters. Except his go out about 50 yards farther than everyone else."
He's a strong man.
Hanley got hurt on that one, fouling it off himself, trying to walk it off.
Speaking of Stanton, he was 5th in the league in home runs with 34. Only 87 RBI, Stanton, on the year when you have 34 home runs. Struck out 166 times. That's something they want him to cut back on. You don't want to pull the reins on him too much. He's going to be one of those Frank Howard type guys.
And he's also young. You know what I mean? He's 21 years old this year. Kevin, maybe 22. But he's a young player.
He's a huge threat. I mean, you get him up in a big spot late, as Jason Isringhausen in the Mets saw last year when he hit that granny that hit the seats in about a second. He is dangerous.
Keep you guys out of the season.
He's talking to the fans already, Ozzie Smith. Ozzie
Ozzie's talking to the fans, and Ramirez to Quintanilla getting over. Marlins will score a run on the double play. We are tied at 3. Ozzie's fired up, having a little fun. Bottom 2 next. Golf down here in Florida. Plenty of courses around. Get some putting practice in. After you watch the ball game, head on over. PGA right down the road. Bottom 2 in Digital Domain Park in Port St. Lucie. 3-3 game as Carlos Zambrano with 40 pitches remaining out there in his spring debut against Ronnie Cedeno, working quickly 2-0.
I said hello to Ronnie Cedeno in the clubhouse today. He looked at my credentials to see who I was. I said, "You're going to see me a lot this year. I'm with the TV."
Oh, yeah, by the way, I played for this team 3 seasons ago.
Just don't call me Mel.
He didn't say you're the Seinfeld guy. Strike to Cedeno. It's 2-2.
You know, that stuff is only going to get worse, Keith. Maybe not for you, but for most of us.
That's right. Is Mr. Kiner going to do any games this spring?
I think he's working.
He's with us Sunday.
Yeah.
Right?
Sunday. Fantastic.
Who's here Sunday out of you guys?
I am.
Oh, cool. Three-2 to Cedeno is inside and high. Ball 4. So Zambrano issues his third walk. I wonder how many pitches Ozzie Guillen's going to let him throw. He looks pretty content right now in that chair, does Ozzie? He's already had 45 pitches, though, and this is his first start. Usually it's around 40. That's the max.
You know, I'm not a big fan of this in spring training because you want to have your knocks and see guys swing. I'd like to see someone lay a bunt down, see how Ramirez handles it over at third base. Take a peek at his quickness over there.
Omar Quintanilla, Mets sign him minor league deal, probably be the starting shortstop at Buffalo. Squares around a bunt. As in the big club, it'll be Tejada, and then Cedeno will be the backup shortstop / second base. As Gaudin continues to warm. He'll be next. Quintanilla. Good wood on that one, and the Mets have runners on first and second to start the home second. That one just sounded crisp, didn't it?
It did. Nice fastball, belt high on over the plate.
Back to the top of the order, Kirk Neuenhuis is the batter. He struck out on a high fastball from Zambrano the first time. Neuenhuis recovering from a torn labrum in his left shoulder. He throws with his right shoulder, so that was the good news. But he's fully healed, ready to go.
He's a big, strong kid.
You know, it's interesting because all the center field talk in this organization revolves around Matt Den Decker, who's also in this camp on the 40-man roster for the Mets. But Neuenhuis, you know, people kind of forget about him. He's kind of an every tool type of guy. Scouts feel like he doesn't have one overwhelming tool, but he does everything well. Trying to get that last leg, get to the bigs. There's 1-1 fastball high there.
You know, for the scouts, if they're grading on, you know, 1 to 10 kind of system, Neuenhuis is not always going to come out 8, 9, 10. But the one thing when you watch him play, and I think that's why Keith and I really like him, he knows how to play the game. You know, he knows how to take those angles to make the catches. You know, his thing will be like all young outfielders, infielders. Can he hit when it spins?
Some trouble with that one.
Well, he chased a bad one there. It's spring. It's early. There's always a lot more tension when you're a player trying to make your mark in the spring.
And he takes strike 3 call. 4 strikeout for Zambrano. And that's going to be it. He's hit his pitch limit here. Strikeout of Neuenhuis, and Big Z is done. Chad Gaudin coming on in. It's almost like he wants to stay on. Ozzie said next time. Zambrano exits, 3-3 game here in the second. Justin Turner up against a new pitcher for the Marlins, Chad Gaudin, as Carlos Zambrano hit 51 pitches, thus he was taken out in his first spring start. Turner takes ball one, struck out his first time against Zambrano. You see Gaudin, veteran, has been around the block. Blue Jays, A's,
much traveled. Yankees,
Padres. Going to make a club as a reliever here. Turner, oh, bad luck for Justin Turner. Right to Solano, on to Murphy covering at second. That's a double play, and the inning is over. Easy work for Gaudin. Mets are finished here in the second. We're tied at 3. Mike Pelfrey begins his third inning of work here in his spring debut. The top 3, Digital Domain Park in Port St. Lucie. Mets Marlins tied at 3. Marlins, if you haven't seen them, those are their new uniforms, new colors.
I don't know if I like the colors because there's so many of them. I'm going to have to kind of figure it out.
But it's tropical.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Tropical?
I don't like the black background.
Is that what it, like a lot of different neon colors, signal tropical? Is that how it works?
It looks like you'd be on a cruise ship. You know, they have all those different neon colors.
I wonder if Jeffrey Loria had anything to do, the owner of the Marlins, had anything to do with the design. I know he designed that World Series ring, and that was horrid. It was just like so gaudy. Awful.
Well, he knows colors because he's used to collecting Monets and Van Goghs, so he's got to know color at least a little bit.
Well, there's a big art sculpture in center field in the ballpark now, which apparently does some something when a home run is hit. I haven't seen it. I saw a still picture of it.
Wow.
That they're actually talking about as Kearns gets one in the wheelhouse. This one going right with the wind and right on out. Home run, Austin Kearns, and the Marlins jump in front of the Mets 4-3.
Said it, keep the ball down today or get the ball up in the air. You got it down, but right down the pipe. Anything to left field is out of here today. It's hit with authority.
Now it's Aaron Rowan. Probably battling with Kearns trying to make it onto this roster. 2 veterans signing minor league deals. Rowan walked his first time up.
It's interesting, right? The Marlins have Kearns and Rowan back-to-back, and the Mets have Baxter and Loen back-to-back. Yeah. Keeping an eye on each other.
Broken bat, chance for Turner. Rowan retired 1 down. You know, it's interesting about the veterans, too, because Michael Weiner was here today, the Players Association rep, and we've touched on the broadcast before. I think you guys did it on the first broadcast with Gary, about there's a new thing in the collective bargaining agreement this year, and it's really just done to help protect the veterans. If you've been in the league, if you get 6 years experience and you sign a minor league deal, 5 days for opening day, the team has one of two options. They could either say, hey, you're not going to make our roster, and kind of designate that, and then the player can go and look as a free agent essentially in those 5 days for opening day, or if they don't, or are not sure if they're going to make the roster yet, then they have to pay $100,000. It's really, I asked Michael about it today. He said really the clause was there. It's not about the $100,000. It was about giving an opportunity for veterans who have been in the league to sign the minor league deal to be on a major league roster.
Well, there are organizations in the day when Keith and I played that were very above shelf, gentlemanly, and when they had a veteran in that they knew was not going to make their team, they would give him a week to go someplace else and find a job. But there are equally as many organizations that will stick it to the player and not move him to the last minute. And next thing you know, you're playing the exhibition game up north, and then you're given your pink slip, and that allows them no time to get a job. So for a player, for Michael Weiner and the union, that's a win-win.
It's kind of like a new entitlement,
right? Well, it always is good, though, to have a chance to catch on later.
Tiffy lifts at the center, and there's two down. You know, special appearance in Mets camp today, and you get usually one a year. Legend, Sandy Koufax. Talking with Bobby Parnell. Bobby doing the right thing, listening.
Good stuff.
You know, it was interesting this year that we were all at the, as Pelfrey's done, we were all at the bat dinner, and I found myself standing next to Sandy Koufax, and I'm never nervous around anyone. I was nervous around Sandy Koufax.
New pitcher for the Mets. Pelfrey's hit his pitch limit. Batista in. Marlins in front, 4-3. Mike Pelfrey's spring debut is done. Miguel Batista, 41 years old, in there now with two down, and bases empty for the Marlins. Throwing strike one to the catcher, Luke Montz. 41 years old and in just terrific shape.
This is his second appearance. He pitched on opening day here at Digital Domain.
Well, Zambrano,
he's in shape.
Walking the track.
I've not seen him that fit in around 4 years.
Luke Mons looks a little like Eric Hinsky.
Yeah, he does.
One-two from Batista. Tries to get him to chase. And it's 2-2. A lot of offense so far in this game. Marlins got a couple off Pelfrey in the first. Got a home run from Austin Kearns in this inning. Batista. Off the mound. Athletic completes the play, inning over. Nicely done by the 41-year-old Miguel Batista. And the Marlins finished here in the third. They grabbed the lead, though, up on the Mets 4-3. One-of-a-kind look at Mets spring training with the latest news from Port St. Lucie. Insider info, exclusive interviews, and behind-the-scenes video. It's on Mets Blog, presented by Verizon, and it's featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Bottom three, Jason Bay will lead it off for the Mets. See what he did his first time up against Carlos Zambrano. Now it's Chad Gaudin, though, in relief of Big Z. He went 51 pitches. Bay first pitch swinging. A chance for Rowan, and there's one down.
Number 29.
Bring up Ike Davis. He walked and scored his first trip. Ike, before he got hurt May 10th in that just crazy collision that seemed like nothing at the time, but kept him out for the rest of the year with a bone bruise in his ankle. And he was having a really great start. I mean, he had 20 RBIs in April. In the 5 weeks that he played, he had 302. He had 8 home runs, hit a couple of lunar lander shots, and the question was, like, there's no doubt the talent is there. Ronnie, I wonder if there'll be any semblance of doubt with him. Just it's been a while. Bottom line, it's been a while since he played the game now, and any momentum that he kind of started to build is kind of gone. So we'll have to watch Ike. He certainly has the temperament to rebound from that. He's about as relaxed as they come off the field.
Well, I think that's going to fare him well. I think that the original plan in spring training was for him to get tons and tons of at-bats to be in there. That's got to be tempered because of the threat of the Valley fever as Ike goes down. But I think that his personality is going to help him, Kevin, that you were talking about. He's kind of a low-key, hang with him kind of guy. He doesn't get too worried when he strikes out. Doesn't get too worried when he hits a home run. obviously see a bright future for Ike in this game.
I think Ike's got star power. I mean, he's got all the tools, and he is a terrific fielding first baseman, which I think is going to help the Mets too. 2 down for Lucas May. It's another bullet. He hit that double before the one left center field gap. Takes a big turn. And Loen finally gets there. And we'll stop him at first. So nice start for Lucas May. 2 for 2.
Well, he pulled the first one. There's a ball up in the strike zone, a little bit on the outer half of the plate, and he goes the other way with it.
Well, we told you coming in, Keith, you talked about the catching position, and it's interesting. There's a lot of options. He is the offensive option. You're seeing it. I mean, he's hit a couple balls hard today. Now it's Mike Baxter. He's got an RBI single in this game.
Well, I think it depends on Tolley, doesn't it? If Tolley's defensive play this year is beyond reproach, you can have a guy behind him who has some ability to put the ball in play.
The question with May is, do they feel comfortable enough with him defensively behind the plate? He converted shortstop. A lot of options. We watched Baxter hit. It goes back to the point we were talking last inning about that new clause with the veterans, giving you the 5 days of free agency. The reason I brought it up because it ties into the Mets team. Because you talk about Baxter and Loen, who right now are fighting for a spot, but there could be a lot of guys that kind of come open on the market, and the Mets could kind of have a guy they pick up 3 days for the season that could be that bench spot too. So Bears watching, see what Sandy Alderson's going to do.
I think a lot's going to hinge on Santana, who we saw throw on the side today, all 3 of us.
Yes.
We thought he had a nice side session. I thought he threw well. I thought he had a good pop in his fastball. Ronnie, what did you think?
I thought he looked fantastic. He was throwing all of his pitches. He was having a blast. Danny Worth and the pitching coach was standing in and giving him the count and where to throw the ball and this or that. And if you didn't know he was injured, you wouldn't have known it. He just was throwing like he was throwing 2-3 seasons ago.
So getting back to the main point, if Santana can't go, then obviously the Mets have got to get a 5th start. So that's why I'm saying if Santana can go, then that gives you the option now for Sandy Alderson to go after and get other needs for the ball club.
3-2 to Baxter. Solano takes it and ends the inning. Well, the Mets have a single and leave Lucas May on base. We played 3 in Port St. Lucie. It's the Marlins by 1.
Throw off.
Top 4 Digital Domain Park. Dominic Solano leading off for the Marlins against Miguel Batista, and his first full inning of work came on to relieve Mike Pelfrey. Got the first out. As joining us now from the Mets dugout is Jonathan Neese, who got the start yesterday, and a successful one at that. Jonathan, it's Kevin and Keith and Ron upstairs. First, Tapper to short, and Quintanilla handles for one away. Well, Jonathan, for you, your spring debut yesterday and a good one, 2 innings. And how did you feel just to get out there and do your work yesterday?
It felt good. It felt good to have that adrenaline rush again, facing live hitters. Worked on all my pitches, and everything felt good.
Talking about your new pitches, talking to Dan Warthen and talking to others, you're working on a straight change, something to go with all those other great pitches you have, the fastball, the cutter, and the curveball.
Yeah, the changeup's always been a pitch that I've been struggling with in the minor leagues and even up here. I've always had to change my grip, and I think Dan showed me a grip last year, and I just kept working on it, and it actually feels good now, and that's a pitch I'm going to be working on most of spring and trying to get that mastered.
Did you do anything different, John, in the off season as far as conditioning, or did you do anything out of the norm?
Well, it's been a real mild winter up in Ohio this year, and it was always in the 40s and 50s, so I could get outside and do a lot more. But I have done a lot more working out this off season, and got to long toss a little bit more, and I feel real good this year.
Jonathan, how much, I should say, what do you have to do with that changeup to take it north of you? You know, it's one thing to work on it here and feel good about it here, but what do you have to do to be in a game in April and be in a big spot and have the confidence to throw it?
Well, that's just it, just to have the confidence in it. I think I'm going to do what I can to make it where I feel good throwing it and have good command of it, and it be 10 to 12 mile an hour off my fastball.
As Kevin Madison, a little early on that one, it's going to be foul. Count will go 3-2 with 1 down.
You know, Jonathan, a lot of people talked about your first year. Probably your cutter was your signature pitch. Had so much success with that. Your second year, you really incorporated your curveball, where that was so effective. But I think what people forget last year was you would use that sinking fastball occasionally against a right-handed hitter, and I think that is a great weapon for you someday also.
Right, and also that sinking fastball against lefties, I've been throwing it a little bit more often, and it's something that it gives the lefties another thing to think about other than the cutter.
You know, Jonathan, I know you've read a lot of books on Sandy Koufax. I know it's a guy that you really have always been interested in reading up on, and you've had the chance, last couple of years he's been here. I don't know if did you get a chance to see him today and talk to him at all today when he was in camp?
Yeah, I got to shake his hand and say hey, but you always know when Sandy Koufax is in camp. Everybody talks about him, and you can't have a better guy to talk about than him.
What are your goals this year, John? What personally for you?
Personally, stay healthy. I think that's the biggest thing. Stay healthy, avoid the injuries, and just compete out there and always keep the team in the game.
We talked to Jonathan Neese, and we say thank you for the time. Jonathan, a great first outing yesterday. It's good to see you, and we'll see you on the mound soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
Good luck, John.
Good luck, John.
Thank you.
He is a guy that just has so much talent. And, I know just from talking to him, he feels the need to prove that he can go a whole season because he's had his first 2 big league seasons cut short.
Yeah, he could be an elite pitcher in this game. Absolutely, he has that kind of stuff. I was fortunate enough, although 1984, Keith, we didn't know if we were going to be any good. But after that, I had the fortunate to take the mound, be fortunate to take the mound every time, and there was a great team behind me. And you were asking about his goals when I played with those Mets offensive teams, defensive teams, he just wanted to be out there 35 times, throw 220, 230, 240 innings, because with that team, if you're just out there, good things are going to happen.
Neese's interview, by the way, brought to you by Xerox Business of Baseball. Xerox, ready for real business. As Scott Cousins draws a 2-out walk, Frank Francisco warming in the Mets pen. A 2-out walk to Cousins, who's been on base all 3 times. It'll bring up Donnie Murphy.
Well, it's interesting how Terry is using Francisco. He's going to be the he's got the jump on everybody as being the closer, and he's used him twice early in the ball games here. I know it's early. I'm sure he'll swing him back in the back end of the games before long. You know what I like about Jonathan, just one more point, and we've seen John now for around a year and a half, is that he's got guts. When he gets in trouble, that's what I look for in a pitcher. I want to see how they pitch when there's men on base in tight situations, and he doesn't fold his tent. If you're going to beat him, you're going to beat him with his best stuff.
What was the phrase we used to hear when I was a kid? He has the ability to bull his neck when he's under.
Right, exactly. Very good.
I like that.
And then there was always the other one. You stay close with this guy, he'll spit the bit late.
You know, you can almost tell from talking to him, and you can see in the interview, I think he's starting to feel confident in his own skin, too. I mean, you know, they're getting some experience up here knowing what to do as the runner goes and throw down not in time. Cousins has the bag at second with a steal.
Good pitch to throw up, but too good a jump. No wasted motion there in the throw, just high, and I don't think a good throw would have had him anyway.
He looked in, too.
Cousins broke camp with the team last year. He's an interesting guy. I mean, he's fighting for that center field job. He's got great speed. And he had a bulging disc in his back, which cut his season short, ironically, after the Buster Posey thing. And there's a lot of untapped potential with him.
Cousins can play. I mean, flat out play. But, you know, he spent an entire season last year fending off the GM for San Francisco, fending off San Francisco fans, and fending off, at one point, death threats. I mean, that's a hard way to play a season when you're a young guy trying to make your mark. It was a probably as unique a situation as any ball player has ever gone through.
Meanwhile, Batista trying to get through the frame. Now runner in scoring position. 2-1 to Donnie Murphy. Cedeno calling and catching, and the inning is over. Marlins strand one. They've got the lead. Spring training baseball. Gotta love it. Some pictures. Man, we just talked to Jonathan Neese, Matt Harvey. Beautiful. Adam Loen leads it off for the Mets in the home fourth, trailing the Marlins 4-3. Along with Keith Hernandez and Ron Darley, I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Loen goes the other way, and you get that carry today with Wade. Keeps on going, and it's gone. Win it up in the jet stream, and it kept on going. It's a home run for Adam Loen, and we're all tied up at 4. Talked about having that pop off the bench for Terry Collins. There's an option.
Well, he's a big, strong kid, and that's where he likes the ball. Got a bit of a long swing, so he's like one of those guys that's a typical left-hand hitter that likes the ball down, out over the plate.
The ball kept on going. Got some big-time power to Loen, that's for sure. There's Ronnie Cedeno over there, and just fouled. Cedeno punched out. High strike call. But Cedeno goes down.
Pitcher calls for the pitch out of the strike zone.
I think it's a strike.
Yeah, I think it's a strike too. You're right.
Yep. That's a strike. He wanted it higher.
Yeah, that's right.
Meanwhile, joining us from the Mets dugout is Miguel Batista, who went out there today and had a nice outing. Miguel upstairs, it's Kevin and Ron and Keith. And, you know, first of all, just for you being at this point of your career, you look great. You're in great shape. And, you know, what is it like going through spring training? You've done this, you know, this is not your first time, obviously, going through this once again.
Well, it's great. If you look at the fact that players now are stronger, younger, faster, it is a blessing for me to still be around and, you know, hanging around with all these guys. You know, it's energizing, at least for a guy at my age.
Well, I think what was great last season was watching you spin that shutout at that start late in the year at Citi Field. And I was just wondering, at this point in your career, you really have that strength, that versatility to be able to close a game, set up a game, pitch in long relief, or even have it a spot start or be a starter for a while.
Well, that's actually my role here. You know, I'm an utility right-handed pitcher, and I've been known for doing that job for quite some time. You know, I don't remember a season that I actually started anywhere without relieving. And a lot of people have known me for that fact, and I like my role here. You know, we have enough guys here to go out there and represent the Mets the best way. This year we have great guys that have been new addition to this team, and me in my role, I can, you know, fill any hole that we might have.
Miguel, do you still get the excitement from spring training? I mean, you've been doing this for so many years, and when you come down, do you still feel the baseball and get excited to kind of get going again? Is it the same as it was, you know, when you signed with the Expos back in 1988?
Well, I think Ron and Keith can tell you that. You know, the first day of spring training, it doesn't matter if you're 19 or if you are 95 years old. As soon as you step on the grass, it's like time hasn't passed. The only difference is that you're not spring chicken no more. But it is exciting. I believe when a player doesn't feel that adrenaline rush, it's time to retire, because that means the game and the fans doesn't mean anything to you.
You know, it's interesting to watch you throw. You're throwing as hard as you threw 10, 15 years ago. Is that just truly conditioning, or have you really refined your motion to a point where you're very efficient?
Well, I try to stay in shape as much as I can, but you have to understand one thing. I still turn it as hard. I just don't get into the play as quick. I'm trying my best to learn how to pitch. It's still at my age, you know. And Ron, you might know that. But, you know, the older you get, the more you have to pitch.
Meanwhile, Chad Gaudin thought the inning was over, but it's only 2 outs, Chad. You got to go back out there. And the fans give him a little jeering there. You know, Miguel, you are truly a renaissance man. I mean, you have so many other talents and interests outside of baseball. I mean, you've written 3 books, I believe, now. And the latest, from what I hear, is you're also into sculpting now. You play a bunch of instruments, too. Tell me, did you just get into sculpting, and what kind of things have you done?
Well, that's something that I always call my attention. I haven't been able to take classes on a regular basis, but it's something that I want to do, something that I find really fun. And, you know, I do a lot of things because I actually tell the players that what I try to do is kill time, so time doesn't kill me.
Have you ever been, as we look at Nieuwenhuis now with 2 down and a 1-0 count, Miguel, have you ever been, chided for that? Has it ever been difficult to fit in because you're different than a lot of guys? You have so many other interests besides the game.
Well, in a lot of teams I had been looked at, differently. I had been called a strange cat or some things like that. But what I do is just let them know I'm a normal guy, just having different interests outside the field.
Miguel, thanks very much. Good luck to you. Meanwhile, nice play at third base by Hanley Ramirez to end the inning. Mets, though, get on the board. Adam Loen going oppo. That one carrying away. Thanks, Miguel Batista. 4-4 game. Back here at Digital Domain Park. 4-4 game. Mets and the Marlins. Adam Loen hitting a home run the other way to tie things up. Been an eventful afternoon here. A lot of offense. Hanley Ramirez leads it off. He had a nice defensive play, by the way, to end that that fourth inning when we're talking to Miguel Batista. Went down, got the ball, showed the arm. And he leads it off here. He's got 1 for 2 with an RBI single. That came off Mike Pelfrey in the first inning. Take a look at Frank Francisco, new pitcher for the Mets, 2-year, $12 million deal. He signed with the team. He will be the closer this year.
This is going to be a bullpen by committee, though. You got a lot of guys out there. John Roush, one of them who's closed games before. Depending on who's hot, I think Terry Collins is going to play the hot hand. Francisco might start.
Well, the Marlins here without Jose Reyes today, as we look at Hanley Ramirez, and obviously there's going to be a lot of fanfare the first time he faces the Mets. That will be April the 24th. Hanley Ramirez unloading deep to left field and gone. Wow.
I think Hanley's coming to play this year, boys.
What gives you that impression? That was a rocket, and the Marlins have taken a 5-4 lead. Also, his shirt is down.
Well, down fastball. Oh, boy. He went and got that one.
Look how far that left the yard by. That was no joke.
It's down the sidewalk.
That was some shot by Hanley Ramirez. He's had a nice game. He's hit balls really hard, and the Marlins are back in front 5-4. Austin Kearns, it's a home run himself. You guys said at the beginning of the game the way this wind is blowing too. Not that that one needed any help, but right to left, you get it up there, it's going, and it has today. As we were talking about Hanley moving to third base, talked about Reyes, and he will face the Mets. You wonder if the Marlins will keep him away from the Mets all spring. You never know, but he'll face them for the first time April 24th at Citi Field, and that will be some show. Look, it was the biggest story of the offseason for this team. You know, will they or won't they? Jose Reyes got the big deal from the Marlins. Felt offended when I talked to him at the winter meetings that the Mets never came to the table with that type of deal, and he ended up leaving. He took the 6-year, $106 million offer with the Marlins and stayed in the division. And you know, it's bitter. I mean, certainly Met fans are going to hate to see that. The guy that won a batting title and left. And I think a guy that was a homegrown star but a fan favorite. You know, a guy who was always smiling, a guy that provided a ton of energy. And, you know, how do the Mets replace that? And, you know, I think even if the contract wasn't an idea that a lot of executives thought was a good one by the Marlins, giving that length and that money because of the injury history, the bottom line was it was a big deal. And it's going to be very interesting to see how he performs against his former team this year. As it's 2-2 on Austin Kearns. Nobody out here in the fifth. Marlins jumping back in front 5-4 on the Hanley Ramirez jack.
Well, you know, when you get traded from a ball club and you play your old teammates, your old organization, it brings out the best in you. You always kind of play with a little more zip.
Did you feel like that when you played the Cardinals?
Yes. Yeah. I think it's just a natural human emotion to want to do well against your former team. We all know it's a business, but when they trade you, you feel like, well, they felt I wasn't valuable enough to keep me. Well, you know, you make them pay.
Check this out.
Yep.
Meanwhile, full count to Austin Kearns with nobody on against Frank Francisco. And he misses there. Meanwhile, earlier in spring training, the Mets owner Fred Wilpon stopped by and talked to the media for 20 minutes. Big topic, as you can imagine, was Jose Reyes, who's no longer here.
I think Sandy made an offer of around $100 million that Jose could have earned if he were healthy. But Jose did what was best for Jose. Jose is a very nice young man and a very good player, and we wish him well. Are we a little leery of 6-year, 7-year, 8-year contracts? Yes. Is Sandy leery of him? You bet. I mean, big time leery with him.
Well, that was Fred Wilpon and Reyes. There's a couple points here as Aaron Rowan bats. First one is about the offer. Reyes was pretty upset that he felt scoring the Mets didn't put an offer on paper. From what I was told, you know, look, it was clear the Mets were not going to go 6 years and $100 million for Reyes. So what I was told that, you know, Sandy and Jose's agents kind of drew something up with incentives, but a lot of incentives that could have gotten them close to that. The other part of the equation after the emotional part, guys, is the contract. Was it a good idea to give Jose Reyes 6 years and $100 million? Turner nifty with the glove, but not in time. Austin Kearns gets pulled off the bag. Cedeno gets pulled off the bag as Kearns gets in there safely.
Well, nice backhand by Turner. Let's just see how wide the throw is. No, he could have stayed on the bag. That was let's take a pitch. It's a better angle. It's a tough play. He's not a first baseman.
Kearns must have gotten a solid jump.
You know,
that helped. But anyway, Keith, those are the two parts of the equation.
Well, the Mets were trying to get, obviously, I mean, going to have the contract based basically on performance, which would be games played. They were leery of the injuries. I agree. I don't agree with 8-year contracts. I wouldn't have given Pujols 10 years, to be honest with you, at his age. So, but you got certain ownership that are out there doing that, and kind of sets the example for other teams to do it. And you can't blame Jose for going for the guaranteed contract. His agent would be doing him a disservice.
Of course.
This is his one chance. He's a free agent. It's his first time, and make the most of it.
Here's Quintanilla, a chance. Steps on second, on first. double play. Advancing the third is Kearns. And now 2 down.
So really, if you look at the 2006 Mets that came within, what, 1 game of getting to a World Series, right? The only ones left are David Wright and Mike Pelfrey.
That's right. 1 game away from World Series in 06. 1 game away from the playoffs the next 2 years. As Francisco deals inside to Luke Montz now with 2 down, runner on third.
And that's 6 years ago, and that's a natural, you know, people get old and they move on. And the organization's got to keep the talent coming up from the farm system and stay with it.
You know, if Peyton Manning cannot be re-signed by the Colts, there's nobody in sports that's safe. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
$28 million, though. I mean,
that's a big number.
Some serious donuts.
It'll be, you know, it's going to be an emotional thing. And we'll see how Reyes responds. I'm sure it'll be emotional for him as well. But, you know, when you look at the Mets organization, the last big long-term contract that they doled out that really worked in their favor was Mike Piazza. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the Johan Santana jury's out on that one as Roush warms up. But the last one that you could say, I think, really, looking back, was a good deal. Who do you think? You give me the face.
I'm giving you the face. I like Carlos Beltran. I mean, he had some amazing years here.
He did.
And it was only injury that cost him his time. Amazing years.
We'll talk about it when we come back. Marlins 5, Mets 4. Middle. .35-year-old right-hander Gary Glover, the third pitcher of the day, on for the Marlins as we play the home fifth. Marlins 5, Mets 4. Justin Turner leading off for New York. And he takes low, 1-1. Hanley Ramirez hit a rocket home run in the top of the fifth. He put the Marlins back in front. It's been a seesaw game so far. Look at the career of Gary Glover. Turner takes away. You know, I'm very disappointed in myself. I haven't had the taco in a helmet yet down here, which is
taco in a helmet.
I mean, come on, it's flat out quality. Don't knock it unless you try it.
Taco in a helmet.
It is quality. Now the process takes a little while. You have the guy scrunching the chips, and it could be about an 18-19 minute process to get it. Turner, nicely done. Murphy in good position, makes the catch, 1 down. Oh, Hamburgers are a close second. Flames a little high on the left. Got to watch those. A little dicey. Looks pretty good, though. Glad to have you along today. Gary Cohn has the day off, so I'm lucky enough to be with these two gentlemen, Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling. I'm Kevin Burkhardt. We were talking about big contracts when we went to the break. As Ronnie gave me the gas face when I talked about Mike Piazza. And but I see your point. You talked about Carlos Beltran. I see your point. You know, he had a lot of great production here, and you're right. But, you know, it's an interesting thing, the long contract. And you know, I mentioned Peyton Manning. I mean, he had a monster bonus, $24 million bonus that was due. But seriously, you know, if a guy like that can't finish with the team that drafted him, he's an icon. He's a 4-time MVP. He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. You know, it's just sports these days. It's business.
Well, I think it's so difficult on the Indianapolis Colts because to make that decision, you're making a decision on a guy you don't even know can play. He doesn't even know he can play. Now, he feels as though he can play. The doctor has given him the okay, but he hasn't gotten that one good lick that you're going to get. And how's he react after that? That's the thing. I don't think it had anything to do with, you know, I mean, he's the second greatest Colts now and the best Indianapolis Colts quarterback of all time, and an icon there. But this is Keith, you were mentioning it's a business. At some point, very few athletes get to play with one team anymore, and he's going to be another one.
And you know, they're doing the right thing. I think that there will be no fan backlash. I mean, it's a serious injury, the neck injury and the surgery he's had,
and they're rebuilding.
And they did the right thing too. No one will ever wear that number 18 again.
That was. Did you see the press conference yesterday? That was really classic.
Yes.
I mean, you know, here's this guy that's partying. I mean, and Jim Irsay and Peyton Manning are up there, and Irsay, like Keith, like you said, says no one's going to wear 18 again, which was awesome, I thought. And Manning had this awesome line as Ike Davis bats with 2 outs and no on. He read the statement. He was getting teary-eyed and emotional. It was real. It was genuine. And then he said, finally, to the fans of Indianapolis, thank you for letting me be your quarterback. How great is that?
Wow. That's a classy statement there.
You know, as we're mentioning, Peyton Manning, a longtime resident down here, and they had his memorial service yesterday, was the great giant Alex Webster, Big Red, 2-time Pro Bowler, rushing yards, touchdown yards, receiving yards. He was just amazing. Played on that, I believe, 56 team against the Chicago Bears, and that was the last championship for the Giants until that 86 team with Phil Simms and company. A true gentleman to anyone who knew him.
It's a pretty good pedigree in that Manning family with quarterbacks, isn't there?
That's right. They could play a little. What if Peyton came to the Jets and you'd have 2 Mannings in New York?
Wow. You know, the best athlete of all of them was the father. Archie could run and do everything. That's right. He just played for those horrible Saint teams, and he got killed. They had no offensive line.
Ike Davis has himself 2 hits.
Listen, if you play for those same teams, you learn how to run too.
Man, running for his life.
But certainly his 2 sons, have superseded him. And boy, oh boy. And how about those Giants this year? I'll make our producer happy.
That's right.
I don't need him on my back.
And it will make a portion of our television fans happy, and the other really unhappy.
That's very true. Here's Lucas May now with 2 down and 1 on. Lucas has hit a couple shots. He's got a 2-run double, and he also went the other way for a singles last time up, 2 for 2. Davis off of first base. That one's going to get like plenty of time to go on. 55-footer by Gary Glover.
These are the pitches that make catchers hate pitchers. I mean, that ball is 3-4 feet before the plate. No chance. The one's behind the plate. I saw something interesting today. One of the catchers was working on blocking the ball, and Bob Guerin, the bench coach for the Metropolitans, was videotaping it. Yeah, and that was interesting to see. And I guess he'll show that to the catcher later, and they'll say, hey, we could do this better or that better.
2-0 to May. Right through, handling Ramirez for the wickets. Davis Looked like he was going to go and then stopped, and he will stay at third. So Hanley made the good play at third earlier, hit the home run, but that one right underneath the glove.
Well, the mistake here is he fields it off to the side and one-handed. He got a bad break on it. But if he gets in front of it, he has the lateral movement to his left, he makes that play.
You're so right. In front, that ball hits his glove and bounces in front of him. And with the runner running, he has plenty of time to make the play.
He's a little lazy there. Caught in his heels.
A little lazy, or we'd have to give him the benefit of the doubt. Reading the ball off the bat is going to be a little bit of a problem early, I would think.
That's a good point, Ronnie.
Mike Baxter with a chance to tie this game up for the Mets with 2 down. Is that the toughest thing in that move over to third? It's just the read off the bat. Is it the throws, the distance of the throws?
Well, he's used to getting more. When you play more up the middle, second, center field, and shortstop, you can get a read off the swing of the bat better, and the ball gets to you later. Third base is the hot corner, it's more reactive.
Meanwhile, over at second, Solano makes the play. Baxter retired. So are the Mets. Fail to score. They leave 2. Marlins still up 5-4 through 5. John Roush making his second spring appearance for the Mets. We'll start off here in the 6th. Marlins in front of this one, 5-4. Hanley Ramirez's home run, the difference. And so here Roush signed a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. Donovan Solano, first pitch swinging, and there's one down. Earlier today, Johan Santana threw a bullpen, which was key because after that start, you wondered if he would indeed throw the bullpen today or take a little bit of a break, depending on the shoulder felt. Well, guess what? It felt good enough to throw the pen, and his pen looked pretty darn good as well. He was effortless. He was smiling. He had the mid popping on the fastballs as Mike Nikias did the catching, and everyone looked on there. And a very good step for Santana. There was some talk that, hey, you have to listen to him, and shoulder doesn't feel great. We'll push back the bullpen. But right now, Santana's on track to make his second spring start on Sunday. That'll be on the Pix 11 in New York on Sunday afternoon.
Did we get our Pix shirts for spring training yet?
No.
I've got my old one.
Hint, hint, hint.
I don't.
I have 2 Pix games this spring, so I need a large, guys.
Apparently they've been mailed. So at some point between now and Sunday at 1 o'clock, we should get them, Keith.
I no longer need the extra large.
If not, we'll just put tape over your SNY shirt. Not like that's ever been done before.
You know, I got a call today, a text, and Andrew Figversi said he doesn't trust the mail these days, so he's going to bring it down and stay for a week.
Yeah. Well, Andrew's no dummy. Get out of the. Although, isn't it like 70 back in New York today? It's supposed to be really warm back there today.
That's right.
Meanwhile, Roush is 2-2 against Kevin Madison. Oh, and he got him. Pulled the string. Nicely done. And Madison goes down on strikes. Meanwhile, we told you about the Johan bullpen. What exactly did he feel about that effort today? Pretty happy, actually. Here's Santana.
I feel good. You know, I was able to throw my bullpen without any problems, and we good intensity and working on all my pitches, and I felt pretty good. I've been fine yesterday. I played catch, no problem. Today, same thing, no problems, and then I was able to throw my bullpen, so that's a good sign, and hopefully next couple of days I'll recover and be ready for Sunday.
Needs to start for Sunday as Scott Cousins bats now with 2 down, the bases empty against Roush. Guys, what'd you think?
Well, you know, I watched him in the beginning, and he was out on the other field, and he was throwing long toss before he threw in the bullpen. It was about 150 to 200 feet, and he was throwing line ropes for about 10 minutes, and he was jumping around in the field like he was a 20-year-old kid and throwing free and easy from that 150 to 200 feet and with something on it. So he's feeling pretty good right now. And then you watched him throw on the side, right, Gabe?
Yeah, I was behind home plate, a little bit on the left-hand side of the plate, naturally my natural side. And I thought he had good pop on his fastball. He located it well, too, when he wanted to come inside. He was on the corners. The question with Johan is, do we get 33 starts out of him? How's it going to hold up as the season progresses?
You know, a good inning for John Roush. He sends the Marlins packing. Cousins a strikeout victim. 1-2-3 for Roush. Mets down by 1. Johan. We're back. Bottom 6, Digital Domain Park, 5-4 Marlins over the Mets. Adam Loen leading it off as Gary Glover remains in for his second inning of work. The veteran for the Marlins, and Adam Loen trying to go for his second home run of the game, deep to right, but the park's going to hold it. Kyle Jensen makes the catch on the track. So Loen went deep to left as last time. This time, not so fortunate. One down. Jake Jeffries, the new catcher for the Marlins, who make a bunch of changes. Nick Green now in at shortstop. Gil Velasquez at third base. We showed you Kyle Jensen, the new right fielder. Those are the changes for the Fish. Ronnie Cedeno with one out. The batter takes strike one.
Judging in spring training is very difficult because of the wind. I will tell you right now that Terry Collins and his staff is more impressed with that at-bat by Loen than the at-bat where he hit the ball over the left field fence. The left field fence, it's hard to judge if that would have been a home run at Citi Field or any other ballpark. But you knew that ball right there, if it wasn't for the wind, was a long home run. So that would impress them even more maybe than the home run he hit over the fence.
He's showing you that he's got that pop, that's for sure.
Take a look at his swing here on this ball. He hit it into the teeth of the wind. See if he got it towards the end a little bit. No, he's right on it. That's a little towards the end of the bat.
That is the difference, though. I mean, you know, the wind's blowing strong from right to left all day long. They've hit that one better. Not the same result. Chance for Green, errant throw, but Terry Tiffy makes the save, and there's two away.
Defensive changes for the Marlins. Now in catcher number 83, Jake Jeffries. Now playing shortstop number 3, Nick Green.
Got to really respect the story by Adam Loen, though, huh? I mean, your first-round pick, highly touted pitcher for the Orioles, has 2 elbow fractures. First one, they put screws in, then it happens again, and says, "All right, I'm gonna be an outfielder." You know, he's hit before. Going back and just trying to experience something new. But the first year was just so bad. But hey, you know what? Give him a lot of credit.
Well, in this day and age, we hear more of everyday players, especially catchers, going onto the mound and trying to learn the craft of pitching. Very few pitchers go back and try to be a position player. Ankiel, of course, the most famous one today. I remember, though, when I was a kid and you read all those sports books, the first one I ever read about a great pitcher becoming an outfielder was Smokey Joe Wood, who had that incredible season for the Red Sox, I think in 1914, and then became an outfielder and was a perennial 300 hitter. So those things are hard to do. And, of course,
the other guy that was a pitcher that was a pretty good home run.
That other Red Sox guy.
That other dude, Ruth, I believe.
You think?
Omar Quintanilla takes outside 2-2 to the Mets shortstop today with 2 down, no one on. 5-4 Marlins, bottom 6. A little cloud cover here. Port St. Lucie right now. Quintanilla a little early.
Quintanilla is a nice little hitter.
He really is.
He's got a little short stroke. Obviously, he's not a big guy. He's a middle infielder.
Stands right on that dish, doesn't he?
Swings the bat well. The veteran.
How come you players, when you stop the pitcher from trying to rush your pitching, you always fake like you have something in your eye?
Oh, you gotta, you know.
It's like the guys that miss a putt, tap down a spike mark. It's the same deal.
I can counter. Why do you pitchers always try to quick pitches?
By the end, you got to just try to trick you. That's why.
By the way, how's your dad doing?
The dad's doing much better. Thanks. Yeah.
If he's listening, both your mom and dad, you know I love them.
Yeah.
They're up in the Boston area?
Yep. He's doing much better, and he's so excited because he has SNY now. So he's tapped into all these games.
Caught at first by Tiffy. That'll do it for the Mets. They go down 1-2-3. Tim Tuffle, new Mets third base coach, joins us next.
Well, online dating services can get kind of
We're back at Digital Domain Park as we hit the top of the 7th. Marlins 5, Mets 4. And lucky enough to be joined now from the Mets dugout by Tim Tuffle. Tim, it's Keith and Ron and Kevin upstairs, and it's good to hear from you. And new third base coach for you this year. And what is your style at third? You know, how would you classify yourself as a third base coach? Obviously, as a manager of the minors, you had some time to kind of be over there. This will be a little different, though, up here.
Yeah, tempered, but, you know, trying to be under control, but also aggressive. So if something presents itself, I'm ready to send somebody.
Timmy, I know you've been working with Murph. Murph's going to be the second baseman, projected second baseman going north. How's that been going? I know you've been working with him every day.
Well, it's been going good. He's learning different styles of turning, but today we had, I think, a breakthrough. He's going to do one method and be under control and make the transfer, and hopefully he'll be successful at turning some double plays for us.
Well, I got to ask you another question now. You're a third base coach, and there's a pop-up there. That's going to be the first out of the inning. You know, guys like to steal signs. Have you? People think you're just a third base coach. You fans out there that you got all these signs, but that's got a lot of practice that has to go into giving the signs. You can't get your signs stolen. You have to have a lot of deception.
Yeah, you do, and you hit the indicator. I'm going to use an indicator, so I'll be hitting wipe offs, put ons, and wipe off, and hopefully, it'll be something that'll be hard to pick up.
Tim, how gratifying is it for you? I mean, you've been in this organization for a decade. I mean, you've put in your time and then some. And you've proven you're a good manager. So to be patient and to get an opportunity now, what's that like?
Well, it's just a great opportunity. I'm thrilled to be here, and I think for all development, it gives everyone a chance to work hard. And if you work hard, you have a chance to be in the big league. So it's just a good sign for the whole organization. And we've had some changes with Chip leaving. It kind of opened up a spot. I'm just glad I was considered.
Tim, you played on some good teams here. You played on some good teams when you were with the Twins. Occasionally, you're around an organization where outside of the clubhouse, there are a lot of maybe low expectations, but that doesn't seem to be the case with the young men that you're working with, are they?
No, you can't have that low expectations at all. You saw what Arizona did a couple years ago, and they were 60 and 90, and then 90 and 60. I mean, you still got to play the game, and for us, it's playing the game right. We just have to do it better than everybody else. Mistakes can't be a part of our game. We got to get better defensively. We were 25 out of 30 teams last year. They got us projected as worse than that this year. But we got guys on this coaching staff that work hard and players that are putting the time and effort in. I hope our defense picks up.
Vinny Rottino, who's in left for Jason Bay, made a nice play there, racing over retired Gil Velasquez. So there's 2 down as we talk to Tim Tuffle. Tim, just going through camp, anybody that's maybe stood out to you that you've seen that you've kind of been impressed with? I mean, it doesn't have to be an infielder necessarily, but just either a performance on the field or just their demeanor in the clubhouse that we don't see.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that are really stepping it up here. Loen, I like Loen's attitude. He comes out early work. Baxter's been putting in a lot of time at first base as well. So I think there's a couple guys who know that they're the guy that can possibly make the ball club. Q's is playing great at shortstop. I mean, he's making all the plays, and of course today, we knew he had a good glove. Now he's showing some promise with the stick. So, I think there's some spots open, and guys are really putting the time and effort in. And I think it's showing up in camp here. Guys are ready to play.
1-1, 2 down to Kearns. Roush trying to get through his second inning of work, and Cedeno hoping to make that happen. Does so. Fires across the diamond. Nice 2 innings of work for John Roush. Tim, great to hear from you. Thanks for the time.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Tuff.
See you guys.
Tim Tuffle, we'll see him at third base. New coach for the Mets this spring. Mets needing a run to the Marlins. Get your nightly recap of the Big East tournament with a complete breakdown of today's quarterfinal matchups, post-game reactions, exclusive interviews. Big East Nightly, presented by Blimpie, tonight at 11:30 only on SNY. 4 games going on today. I haven't checked the score. I'll have to do an update there. Syracuse edging UConn by 3.
Oh boy.
So Cuse had their troubles. Amazing how UConn just rises from the ashes. Had a mediocre season, and they're trying to put together another run. Chris Hatcher is the new pitcher for the Marlins, facing off the top of the order. Kurt Neuenhuis had a tough day at the plate. 2 strikeouts and a ground out to third.
Get the Warden back in town. That's why Jim Calhoun comes back.
He comes back, and it's serious business, man. No joke. Hatcher got a little time with the Marlins last year. Actually went up and pitched 10 1/3 innings at a 6.97 ERA. He spent most of the year in Jacksonville. He had a good year down there. 27-year-old.
Looks like Dick Tidrow.
He threw dirt. Reliever for the Yankees and
for the Mets the one year.
No,
famous for take him off the chandelier. Famous for hanging from the chandelier in the hotel in Chicago around 3 in the morning.
By the way, he's the assistant general manager in charge of player development with the San Francisco Giants. Big part of that 2010 year. Dick Tidrow. We had a few of those older.
We got the dueling votes.
Here we go. Why don't we do a text poll or something?
I don't think the text poll exists in spring.
Oh, it doesn't? Oh.
The text poll machine is resting.
Oh, it is resting?
Or do we actually have a machine for the text poll, or is it just like
spring training games surprise us again this year? What happened?
Is Greg Schill just kind of do it on his iPhone? I'm not really sure. Nice. You like that one, Keith?
Very good.
Now, last year, SNY's Play Bull Award was a huge success. 6 in-need youth baseball leagues received a $5,000 grant to help pay for new equipment, uniforms, and field improvements. This season, it's your turn. Help your youth baseball or softball league with a $5,000 grant. Apply for the SNY Play Bull Award today at sny.tv/playball. Keith, why'd you like that at bat?
Fastball over the plate, went right with it, didn't try to pull it, stayed level on that waist-high pitch, pitcher's mistake, and he look at the result, bullet.
You know what's interesting is that you certainly are not supposed to pull for the players in what we do, but in between the inning we were all talking and I said, boy, Neuenhuis could use a hit.
Yeah.
And both of you guys confirmed it and said, boy, he's played some great defense, he's done some nice running, stealing of bases, but he hasn't really got a knock yet, and there it goes.
Meanwhile, Jordani Valdez-Speen, who came in the last half inning, we were talking to Tim Tuffle on D, gets his first at bat. He tomahawks one to right. Jensen, though, right there. Neuenhuis back to first, 1 down. Valdez-Speen looks like he's swinging an axe sometimes, doesn't he?
I like him. He's got a chance to be a good one. He was very nice level swing on that mid, about, I guess, a little above the waist pitch. Just tried to pull the ball that kind of faded away. He had a great spring last year and really opened my eyes. He can fly.
17 bombs in the minor leagues between AA and AAA.
Yeah, the home run total really jumped off the map for him last year. And the other thing was the off-the-field stuff. He had some behavioral issues and clashes with managers and things like that. And by all accounts, he matured last year. So that's a big part of it, too. As Vinny Rottino takes his first at bat, made a nice catch after being the defensive substitution for Jason Bay. Guys, it's interesting. Earlier in the game, we were talking to Miguel Batista after he pitched, had a nice outing today, and Batista's 41. Happened to see the game out in Arizona with the Giants and the Colorado Rockies with 50-year-old Jamie Moyer yesterday. Right. Who actually he's 49. He's not 50.
I know. I was sorry. Yeah, I was let known that I got him to 50. He's 49.
He's 49. 2 innings, 1 hit. Fastball topped out at 82. Tim Lincecum went 2 innings and gave up 5 runs and actually tipped his cap to Moyer. But I talked to one of the Colorado writers today, and he said he's got a real chance to make the team. He hasn't pitched. He's coming back from Tommy John surgery to boot. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is. You know what? You gotta like those guys that don't want the dream to die. Good for them.
I mean, if he makes that rotation, that would be one of the most incredible stories in a long time. A guy at his age, 47 years old, Tommy John, and coming back.
Yeah. Do you like that hat? I do not. Weak. Dropped my first L. Stinkowski of the year.
2-1. Nieuwenhuis is on the move, and it works to perfection. He's going to go to third. Vinny Rottino delivering there. The Mets have runners on the corners with one down.
Well, both managers successfully hitting and running today. You see Nieuwenhuis looking back over his shoulder. Nicely done. Opposite field by Mr. Rottino.
As Seda warms up, Jose Seda. We'll see him next.
Pitched a little bit last year with the Marlins. Big hard thrower.
Ike Davis, the hitter.
Little change up first pitch.
Ike's 1 for 2. Walk, scored, single. Left on third his last time up. Got a chance to tie this game up with a sac fly with one down and runners on the corners. Nieuwenhuis, good speed on third.
Trying to get that double play, Ronnie. A little change up sinking, trying to get you to roll it over. 4-6-3 on your scorecard.
So you're trying to think to yourself, get that ball up a little, right?
Infield double play depth up the middle.
Ikes watches it away. 2-1.
Oh, nice pitch to hit right here.
Get himself another 2-1 changeup.
It's always felt in this situation, a left-hand hitter as I was, they were going to pitch it. It's never going to stay away.
Why is that?
Just they want double play. They're afraid to come inside 2-1. I'm a left-hand hitter, right-hand pitcher. Afraid that I might be looking in their bread and butter's usually away.
And they're trying to use your aggressiveness against you. You feel like you're looking for a pitch to really hit out of the park or hit for a double, and you might roll over on the ball away. Nice take by Ike Davis.
Ike's got 3-1 now. Check on Rottino. Let's have a couple catchers in camp who not only can run a little bit, but they can play everywhere. Rottino's playing left. And Lucas May, who we saw start the game at catcher, could also play the infield. He's former shortstop, and he's played third and first recently.
He pitches him away. Ike's got the power just to hit it over the left center field wall on a day like today.
There's a catcher setting up away. Rottino's going to run. No, he's not.
And Ike goes and fishes for that one. Can't connect. Count goes full.
Fastball on a hitter's count. Right to the glove. He swung right through it.
And all these inner thoughts in your head. The pitcher's saying to himself, oh boy, I threw that 3-1 fastball by him. I got to go right back to that pitch. And maybe Ike turns it up a notch.
Now's the time to come inside. They got 2 strikes. Rottino will run.
Ike fouls it off to stay alive. Two to Davis. After stepping off momentarily. Try to keep Bertino close in case one gets in the gap. And Knight takes ball 4.
Change up. Trying to trick him. Now he's in a world of trouble.
He's got the bases loaded, and we will see the first at bat by Rob Johnson. And also a pinch runner. Ike is out of there. Wilmer Flores coming in to run for him.
What a time for Johnson, huh? Looking for him to provide some offense as he fights for a position.
Nice at bat by Ike there. Ike showed it so much. He's got a good eye at the plate. Very patient.
We talked so much about the catching tonight, all the guys that are in camp, and Lucas May hit a good offensive game, 2-run double, and now here's Johnson coming in, who's known for defense. He's got the bases juiced and 1 down. Great opportunity for the former Padre. His first at bat of the game. That one's going to get to the seats, so he'll have another opportunity.
Everybody clap your hands.
Johnson's a guy that pitchers seem to like throwing to. He's got a great arm. It's not going to help him in this spot, though. It's all about the bat. Still just 1 down.
Hatcher has not been able to find the plate with his slider, so he's become really a 2-pitch pitcher, that fastball and changeup. Big pitch here, right, Keith, in the at-bat, 1-1?
Always.
Jams him again. Gets out of play. It's 1-2 to Rob Johnson. Got the Blue Jays hat on. So a guy in the Cubs jersey the other day, and now a guy with the Blue Jays hat on.
Go west about 4 hours, north of Tampa,
right.
Dunedin. You're fine.
He'll be okay.
Dunedin, what a terrible ballpark that old park was, wasn't it? What a brutal infield.
Last time I was there, Straw was chasing some Blue Jay pitcher around the parking lot. Story for another day.
That was a road trip you just prayed you didn't make.
1-2 to Johnson. Chops one to third, plays at home, and force out Recorder. Neuenhuis cut down at the plate, so Johnson can't get the job done. Bases remain loaded, and now 2 away. And it'll be Mike Baxter's turn. It looks like Mike Baxter will be facing a different pitcher. Ozzie Guillen on his way out to the mound. And Chris Hatcher has hit the limit. The Marlins going to go to the pen and bring in Santa here with 2 down. Mets trailing by 1, trying to get back and tie this game. It'll be Baxter at the plate when we come back. Big spot for Mike Baxter. Bases loaded, 2 down. Mets down by 1 in the 7th. And Jose Cedes come on relief of Chris Hatcher.
You saw him last year, right, Keith? He struck out 21 and 20 in the 3rd. The hard thrower, they want him to lose some weight. Do some push-ups away from that dinner table.
That's push-outs, push-aways.
As long as he doesn't get any obliques, he'll be fine.
I think he's okay in that category.
Baxter, the cut, and a miss. 1-1.
Needless to say, a nice at-bat here from Mike Baxter. Whitestone native, chance to impress. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Base knock puts the Mets ahead.
It's always about competition. Adam Loen has a home run, just missed another one. Baxter has an RBI single, looking for more. Fastball paints.
He throws hard. Look at that, 96. Knees in black. It was a borderline knee-high strike. Baxter didn't get the call. This kid's got a good arm, boy. 96 in early March. Not that fair.
1-2. And Baxter is punched out. Off speed, and Baxter surprise takes strike 3, and the Mets leave him loaded. 7th inning straight. Tim Burdock on the pitch for the Mets in the top of the 8th.
Well, a nice season for Tim last year. 72 games. Had some big strikeouts. I remember in Cincinnati. Remember he had that big punch out against Jay Bruce?
He was the Mets' best reliever in the whole course of the whole season.
Yeah,
remember,
the most consistent.
He started out the first part of the year in April, and he was hardly used. And he was solid all year, Mr. Burdock.
Meanwhile, down from the Mets dugout, Ike Davis has come out of the game after his last walk, and he's thrown the headset on. Kind enough to share a few moments with us in the booth. Ike, it's Ron and Keith and Kevin up here. And how you feeling out there right at this point at the plate? You had a couple walks today, had a single, had some nice at-bats.
Yeah, it was a good day. Got my first walk out of the way. It usually takes me a little while to do that. But, yeah, I got 2 today, got a knock. And, you know, I'm still far from where I want to be, but it's coming along.
We talked to Ike. We watch Burdock deliver to Kyle Jensen.
You know, Ike, you got to be kind of chomping at the bit. You know, you had the unfortunate injury in Colorado last year, and you were off to a great start. 25 RBI, I believe, at the time, and your season was over. So a lot of hard work for you to get back and get yourself ready to go. You got to be feeling good about it.
Oh, it's great to be back in the field and be with the guys.
Ike, you got to call that. Show us the play-by-play prowess. Come on.
No, it's great being out here. meeting everybody that's new and seeing old teammates and actually being able to strap it on with them again. It's pretty fun.
No, it's interesting, Ike, is that you got a lot of the people in the white lab coats telling you one thing, you're feeling another thing. How do you, how do you get past what you're, being told and how you feel and what you're going to do this spring training?
It's just I got to listen to my body, and right now I'm fine. I feel great. I don't have any side effects from it, and I mean I can't really go on what's not happening. So I just have to live day to day, and hopefully nothing happens, and I'll be fine the rest of the year.
Ike, do you remember a couple spring trainings ago when you really opened a lot of eyes and you hit a couple major league bombs? One of them which hit those red umbrellas back on the berm right there. Do you remember the feeling that you had? Did you think at that point, wow, I'm opening some eyes, and sure enough, you got called up within a month that year. Did you sense that at that point?
I had nothing. Coming into spring, they told me that I wasn't going to be on the team, so I had a pretty easy knowing what I was going to do. I was going to start in AAA. So I came out here, and I just had fun, and it was my first experience really playing on the major league level, and I was nervous as heck, but I look back at that, and it was an amazing time and a great experience.
Because Terry's played a lot of the young guys, and that's what I was thinking about. Do you think about that and have some of the guys talk to you about that just when they get out here and get a chance to get on this field already?
Most of the guys out here, they haven't really talked to me because I don't think I've been. Oh, nice play. Oh boy. Most of the guys here, the young guys, have had some major league experience just by getting called up in September, and I have a couple like Kirk and stuff like that that's come up to me and asked me questions over it. But pretty much this is a young team, and we're all going through this together, and I think it's a great spring training for a young player.
Ike, thanks for the time. Music's on. We got to go.
Have a great year, Ike.
See you guys.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Bottom 8, Mets trail the Marlins by 1. Jose Seda in his first full inning of work after coming on in relief with the bases loaded and striking out Mike Baxter. Now he's got Adam Loen, who hit a home run to the opposite field to left with the help of that trail wind, and then hit a shot his last at bat that looked off the bat, had a chance to go, but the wind knocked it down, caught at the track. So Loen 1 for 3. Mondo Rodriguez warms. Maybe we see him in the ninth.
Boy, that's hard, huh? He was up in the first inning when Pelfrey was struggling, and now 3 hours later, back up again.
Ricky Bonas, the new bullpen coach for the Mets. AAA pitching coach last year. 2-2 and cut on and miss. Loen down on strikes. 2 straight strikeouts for Seda. New York Mets baseball on SNY, brought to you today by City, by Time Warner Cable. Enjoy all the things you love better: TV, internet, and home phone from Time Warner Cable. And brought to you by Ford. Ronnie Cedeno now. 1 down. Takes outside for ball 1. Cedeno's 0 for 2 with a walk. Moving around the diamond. Started at second. Moved over to third. It's just 1 to center. Madison turned around. He's got the beat on it. 2 down.
Shortstop number 6, Omar Quintanilla.
Brings up Omar Quintanilla. He's 1 for 3. A single, a strikeout, and then lined out sharply to first base his last time up. By the way, we should mention, we were talking to Ike Davis there, and you know, the equivalent of the cane on stage came out, the music in television, which means you had to kind of get to break. That was Matt Dendecker who made that catch in center field. He was substituting for Kirk Neuenhuis, and Dendecker's on deck. That's not Bill Webb, art director. It's some descendant, I'm sure, who will get in the game at some point. Quintanilla, Oppo, inning over. The Mets are down in order in the 8th. Seda looking pretty sharp. His Marlins. Ninth inning in Port St. Lucie as we check around the majors, brought to you by City. Yu Darvish, a debut that everyone was looking at. The Texas Rangers spent $110 million combined between his salary and the posting fee. And man, I know it was only spring training, but 2 innings, 3 strikeouts. 25 years old. He looked sick. I mean, his pitches are moving all over the place. See Bryce Harper, and then David Robinson carrying a box in his house, sprained his foot falling down the stairs. A terrific Yankee reliever.
I'm not laughing, but you know
how bizarre is that? So hopefully he's all right. Armando Rodriguez in the 9th for the Mets, trying to keep it a 1-run deficit. See his numbers with St. Lucie. Did you guys see Darvish at all? Any of those highlights?
I did. You know, 93 and 38 for the Nippon Ham Fighters. They paid him $111 million to come over here, and one of the hitters that hit against him or with him, I forget, Orlando Hudson, you know, the much-traveled infielder,
sure,
said watching Darvish pitch is the same as having the console box and playing Nintendo. I mean, that's how it is. You can just call any pitch out. He's supposed to have 7 or 8 pitches, apparently. One of them was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
I mean, he was all over that. I mean, he was moving all over the place. Again, and just the highlights look pretty sick.
They telecast the game live on TV back to Japan, and at the facility had 150 press credentials for Japanese TV.
It would be fascinating to watch and see what he does this year. You know, the one thing is watching him is that, as by the way, Donovan Solano is the batter here in the ninth with the Marlins up by 1 against Rodriguez. He has a traditional American delivery. You know, a lot of the Japanese pitchers come over, they have some sort of delay or some sort of different type delivery. His delivery is very Americanized, isn't it?
Well, you know, Darvish is interesting as Solano with a linea up the middle. He's interesting in that, you know, he's half Japanese. His father's Persian or Iranian. So, you know, he's a little different than a normal pitcher you get from Japan. You know, a lot of times when people talk about the Japanese hitter or Japanese pitcher, they always ask, you know, why do they hit the same or throw the same? Well, you know, in the culture, Japanese culture, it's not proper to stand out with what you do, to not be more histrionic than someone else. To fit in the form should be the same. And Darvish, of course, has had a little different upbringing.
Kevin Madison, center fielder, with a runner on and nobody down. And there goes Solano, that runner. Madison clunks one in to left. Solano's speeding around trying to get to third. Madison takes a big turn. Runners at the corners. No one out for the Marlins here in the ninth.
Well. Second hit and run for the Marlins, both successful. I'm a fan of the hit and run, and that is why. You got guys that do it and execute it, and he puts you right in the driver's seat.
So also pushing the envelope here in the top of the ninth. You love to see that because, you know, just try to get that insurance run if you can.
Well, you guys hit it about Ozzie too. I mean, he's running hit and run to the top of the ninth of the spring game. He's going to push the envelope this year, isn't he, with that?
Ozzie's the only hitter that I ever faced that the only way to get him out, not the only way to get him out, but he was such a free swinger and swing with anything from the top of his helmet.
Rodriguez stepping off. He's got the man Madison hung up now in the rundown. Here's Loen. Meanwhile, they got to watch at third. Make sure Solano doesn't go anywhere. His rundown's taking a while. Finally, Rodriguez makes the tag. Solano stays at third, so the Mets get it done.
What a nice play by Armando Rodriguez as he sees the guy from first step off. The infielders yelled to him, step off, which he did. He looked at the runner. Key is to get rid of that ball. Get it to the infielders because they'll take care of it. Shortstop looking back, and with the tag here by Rodriguez, he shouldn't even point to the umpire. Just check the runner at third base, but a nice job done by the young right-hander.
A nice rundown by the Mets.
You know, most young guys, so they get a little nervous. They'll balk or they'll deliver the ball to the plate or whatever. He handled that so well. And like I said, get the ball to the athletes out there. Let them run them down. As soon as he made the tag, check the runner at third base. Now, have to watch out here. Dan Worthington has come out to talk to Rodriguez. This is a beautiful time for an offensive team to have the suicide squeeze. There's been a lot of talk, infield in, this is what we're going to do. A lot of different kind of stuff happening. Put it on.
Well, Madison, some say, he was the guy who was picked up first, his speed. And then Solano, we saw him run. And we know Cousins can run. Infield any ball. And it was there, Ronnie. You're right. He popped it right up to Johnson, though.
Good call, Ronnie. My feeling is it's spring training.
Yeah,
got a young kid up there. I want to see him swing the bat.
I agree with you.
Madison's not a guy that's going to squeeze. You know, if it's okay, if it's Jose Reyes or it's Omar Infante, one of the regulars, or Bonifacio, yes.
Nick Green's second at bat now. So Solano stays at third. Now 2 away, and Rodriguez trying to get out of jam after allowing back-to-back singles to start off the frame. By the way, Keith, you mentioned Bonifacio. The new Marlins Park, dimension-wise, is pretty big. I mean, you look on paper, it's 344 to left, 386 left center, 422 to center, 392 to right center, 335 to right.
Why?
Bonifacio hit a home run, though, there last night. Can't be that big. Quintanilla takes care of that. Rodriguez, nicely done to come back and get out of the inning. Mets' last chance. We come back. Tuesday at 1, Cardinals return to Port St. Lucie. Mets continue their Grapefruit League schedule here at Digital Domain Park. Mets Cardinals presented by Citi. Tuesday at 1, right here on SNY.
That'll be me and you, Kev.
It will. I'm looking forward to it, Keithy. By the way, in case you didn't know, the Cardinals and the Marlins, the only two teams on the Mets spring training schedule. It feels that way. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
It's incredible.
Nationals, you got a little Brave action in there. But you got the Yankees twice, which really spices it up, right?
It'll be interesting at the end, right?
You're doing the Yankee game here, right? Are you doing here?
No, I don't think I'm doing that one. I think I got to look at the schedule. Got one Yanks here, and then finish up the exhibition season over there, right?
In Tampa. It'd be good to get over there for that night. Go to Burns Steakhouse. Keith, you ever been there?
Oh, of course. What a wine list.
Danish lobster tail.
Where you could drop a 500 when you eat there, though. I'll tell you that. It's not cheap.
Well, it's a little expensive.
But yeah. that's a great steakhouse.
Kurt will be fine with that. End of the spring training celebration.
Yeah, no, we're just talking about things.
Matt Den Decker leads it off for the Mets. Down by 1 in the home ninth. Den Decker's first at bat here today, and he comes through, punching one right up the box. Leadoff single for Matt Den Decker and the Mets. And that'll be Jordani Valdez-Speed.
We'll see how the Mets play this here. They're in the corners, third base in tight, as if expecting a bunt. I would be very surprised if Terry's going to play for a tie here. I want to see this kid swing the bat.
Yeah.
Den Decker had 24 steals last year, combined in single A and in double A. That's also a possibility. More squares, and Valdez-Speed cannot get it down. Meanwhile, tonight's 10:30, the continued coverage of today's Mets-Marlins Grapefruit League game. Interviews, highlights, recaps of everything New York sports. Big East Tournament 2. Geico Sports Night tonight, starting at 10:30 p.m. only on SNY.
You know, we can make little of this, but one of the glaring problems they had last year was getting the bunt down when they had to, especially their starting pitchers. Now you have an everyday player, but maybe that's why Terry wants to try to work on the execution in game.
Well, he's swinging away. Is it as much to send a little bit of a message just to get home that point?
Yeah, you guys couldn't do it, then we're going to have to work on it. Sorry.
Now they're Valdez being in the 0-2 hole. He's not bunting anymore.
It's a good ball to run on, to tell you the truth. This 0-2 pitch. Usually don't pitch out in spring training. The pitcher wants to strike out the hitter. He's going to try to throw that nasty breaking ball in the dirt. Good pitch to run on.
Ronnie pointed out before, his home runs, Valdez being jumped off the table. He had 17 last year, so he's got power to end this game. Marlins getting some warm-up action out of the pen by Robert Ray. Right now it's Ryan Webb. It's on his shoulders. Trying to give Miami a 5-4 win. Nobody out, though. Runner on first. 1-2 inside. It's blocked by Jeffries. 2-2. Again, try to paint that inside corner, but Valdez Bean holds off, and the count has gone full.
They can run him now. As a pitcher, Ronnie, that's the last thing you want to do is run a full count up there. They're protecting a one-run lead late. You want to play on 2-2. You do not want to get here. Now a double ties the game.
There goes Den Decker. Payoff pitch, and he whiffs Valdez Bean, but he got in the way. It's going to be interference. And Den Decker is out at second base.
Yeah, that's the right call.
And he definitely got in the way. Because Jeffries popped up and tried to throw, and Valdez Bean after the swing. You'll see it. It's clearly interference.
He gets in the way of the catcher big time. Call it drifting. He drifts right across the plate. Jeffries, the catcher, had to step around and still try to make the throw. It impeded his throw. Both runners are out. The runner's out. Hitter's out. 2 outs here in the 9th for the Mets.
So how is that scored?
That changed the entire inning.
In spring training or the regular season?
That's right. I'm not scoring. Gary, if you're home, send us a text, would you?
You're still using the highlights, though, in spring training. I'm impressed. I didn't think they came out to the regular season. Vinny Rottino takes the slider for strike 1 on the outside corner. So it looked like a Mets possible rally. Now 2 down, no one on. It's down to their final couple of strikes. Tino now in the 0-2 hole.
Wally Backman. Waldo.
Mets have a couple of road games next 2 days and then be back here against the same Marlins team on Sunday. If Johan Santana feels good after a good bullpen session today, he'll make his second start of the spring. 0-2 to Rottino, stays alive.
This Vinny Rottino is a little fighter, isn't he?
All right, Mr. Cohen. He's such a smarty pants. He said,
Gary watching?
2 unassisted.
2 unassisted. Very nice.
I knew that.
Thanks, Gary.
Go back to sleep, Gary.
That's fantastic.
There you go. Oh, he has his own optical store here, too?
I didn't know
He does
that.
it all.
Hey,
Seton Hall, Mets.
He's always crying poverty, too.
He is. That's
Pretty sure you're going to have a follow-up text. It won't say much.
He'll have 2 words. Kids, college.
Ryan Webb trying to close out the Mets. Then we could all head to Gary's optical store to get some contacts. One and two to Vinny Rottino. And he paints the corner. Strike 3 call, and ball game's over. So the Marlins come to Port St. Lucie, hand the Mets a 5-4 defeat today. Hanley Ramirez with the deciding home run for the Marlins. Mike Pelfrey started this game. Ran into some trouble, did Mike. Gave up 4 runs in 2 2/3. Mets got home run from Adam Loen. They got 2 RBI double from Lucas May. A good relief work from John Roush today. There you see the line score, though. It's all said and done. It's the Marlins that come away with the 5-4 victory. Next broadcast for the Mets will be on Pix 11 on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Hopefully the shirts come in. That would be great. The Marlins Mets, 1 o'clock. Then it'll be Johan Santana getting the call. For Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling, and also Gary Cohen in on the broadcast, I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Sunday afternoon. So long, everyone.